The Denver Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs opening weekend at Invesco. But the stakes are higher today for Denver, trying to stay alive in the AFC playoff race. A battle in the AFC Western Division. Our kickoff is next in Kansas City. I think that picture says it all. It's going to even get colder in Kansas City as the day goes down with Randy Cross, Kevin Harlan. The Denver Broncos have lost 2 of their last 3 games, led by 10th-year head coach Mike Shanahan. They did beat Miami last week, 2017. Kansas City comes in 5 up and 8 down. They've won 2 straight for the 2nd time this season. They beat the Tennessee Titans in Nashville Monday night, 49-38.
When these 2 teams meet too, Kevin, and they are shootouts. If there's one thing that the Denver Broncos don't want is a shootout. They want a very methodical game, not a trading points like a fast break basketball game.
Ex-Kansas City kicker Jason Baker has the ball teed up at the Denver 30-yard line, and the explosive and elusive Dante Hall is inside the 10. The Broncos, the Chiefs, and we're underway at Rockin' Arrowhead from the 3-yard line. Dante Hall with a block from Horn, and he finds a gap. He got a block from Pyle. He's got an escort, and there he goes. What a way to start things for Kansas City. You may recall a season ago, a punt return by Dante Hall beat Denver in Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium. And look how he starts his 2004 version.
That was a perfectly set up return, Kevin. He just burst through right behind his wedge, and once he got that crease, he was gone.
The extra point is away after the 97-yard kickoff return. And Dante Hall returns his 2nd kickoff this season for a touchdown. He did it to the Chargers earlier here at Arrowhead this year.
Now you start with your wedge to the right, and then you're going to go start here, and then you're going to peel out to the left side. See the personal protector heads out to the left there. Chris Horn, 81. He breaks out, and then his escort, his usual escort, Stills, 55. Watch the little push at the very end, just to end all contest. And this is, if you're the kicker, this is what you have to look forward to. Stop this.
Jason, 5th of his career returning a kickoff, Randy, for a touchdown in a Chiefs uniform.
And just what I said, this is the kind of thing that the Denver Broncos don't want to be involved in. They don't want to be involved in trading huge plays with this Arrowhead crowd just going berserk and the energy going back and forth between the teams. If Mike Shanahan has his druthers, he's going to pound the ball on the ground, control the clock, and control the number of times that Dante Hall and the Chiefs can make those big plays.
And of course, we referred to a year ago when Dante Hall did this. The Chiefs and Broncos were both 4-0 entering last year's game here at Arrowhead. And the Chiefs trailed 23-17 in the 4th quarter. Dante Hall returned a punt 93 yards for a touchdown. The Chiefs won that game 24-23.
Yeah, but he ran 120 to run 93.
I think everybody missed maybe a possible clip or 2 on that play as well, including the officials that were at this game.
But officials are fans too.
Right.
You know, I think officials get caught up in the same thing that we do. I mean, we all watch the ball, and at times officials who are paid at times not to watch the ball succumb to that. And I think that was the case in that particular return. They were watching Dante Hall and what he could do, and not the blocks around him.
So Dante Hall has his 9th career kick return for a touchdown, 5 kickoffs and 4 punts. He was a Pro Bowler last season. He's probably going to Hawaii again this season. The ensuing kickoff by Lawrence Tynes, and the rookie Luke from the 10-yard line, Triandis Luke, runs into his own blocker, then is brought down by Freddie Jones on the Kansas City special teams at the 31. A 21-yard return. Jake Plummer turns 30 years old today. He has thrown 6 interceptions and no touchdowns the last 2 weeks. On the offensive line, Neal is out again, so Cooper Carlisle starts at right guard. Wide receiver Rod Smith needs 6 receptions to reach 700 for his career. Only 19 have ever done that in the history of the NFL. From the 31, Plummer 1st and 10, and with time on a play action, he's got Rod Smith, who is tackled by Kurika Mitchell. The gain is to the 47-yard line, a 17-yard pickup and a first down.
There's just something about Rod Smith coming to Arrowhead or just seeing a red and gold and white jersey. I mean, he just plays better against these Kansas City Chiefs. He's made a living out of catching short passes and turning them into long passes. So watch him for yards after the catch.
2 tight ends. The quick count again by Plummer going onside to Reuben Jones with the beat on him is Fujita. The gain is to about midfield. Maybe sliding across that line. We'll call it a gain of 2. Second down. And Kansas City's defense, their defensive end, a rookie, Jared Allen, leads all rookies in sacks and is approaching a rookie record in that category. Linebacker Monty Beisel is back in the starting lineup, and he's replacing Quentin Caver. And Dexter McCleon replaces the ineffective William Barty at cornerback at second down and 8 from midfield. Extra receiver's been put in, and here comes Plummer on 2nd and 8. He slips and he throws, and it's incomplete. And he was looking for Putzier down the sideline. Yep, Jed Putzier now has become Putzier. He's changed his last name. It's 3rd and 8 coming up.
Hey, actually, you look at this game, I've got some very simple ways to follow it closely. This Broncos team has to live by their running game, which will enable them to score by the pass. And for the Chiefs, just slow them down, defense. You don't have to stop them. You don't have to have turnovers. Just slow them down. Give your offense a chance to outscore the other team.
Kansas City stays in their base 4-3-4 defense. 3rd and 8. They got to get to the 42. Putzier was another receiver. 3 for the scrambling Jake Plummer, who's got a first down, and he weaves his way inside the 30-yard line and out of bounds at the Kansas City 28. Shoved out of bounds by a couple. That is a season-long scrambling run of 22 yards. It was Shenard Hartz to escort him out of play. First down, Denver.
This start, Kevin, for Jake Plummer just sort of typifies what kind of guy he is. He took a lot of grief this week for that gesture he made to a fan in the stands and got his fine for it. But here on his 30th birthday, he is letting it all hang out. The stuff's going everywhere. It's not exactly ball maintenance when you're running like a windmill.
Luke is a receiver. That's Carswell in motion from the Kansas City 28. It's 1st and 10, and here comes Drones, who weaves his way inside the Kansas City 20, hit by Mitchell and tackled by Hartz. There's a late flag thrown where he was brought down. He is close to a first down. Now, one thing that you think about with Denver's offense, they have committed, Randy, a turnover on their opening drive in each of the last 3 games they played.
Personal foul, clipping, offense, number 80. 15-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
And that is the veteran Rod Smith. Denver taking over after the opening kickoff was retrieved by Hall and taken 97 yards for a kickoff return touchdown.
Well, here's Rod Smith right here. Watch him go from the backside and go to cut block inside on Jared Allen. He basically missed. But when you come in from outside of that area as a receiver, you can't go block below the waist. You have to stay up, especially when you're going into the back of somebody's legs like that.
1st and 25. They've got to get to the Kansas City 18 on this drive. A 17-yard completion to Rod Smith. A 22-yard run by Plummer. Now back at the Kansas City 43 after the penalty, and good time for Plummer, who has a pass to Smith, ricochet off his receiver's hand, and incomplete coverage by Hartz, and Beisel will be 2nd and 25.
It was funny, Kevin. The defensive coordinator, Larry Coyer at Denver, actually accused the Chiefs offensive line of being kind of dirty and nasty and holding and all that.
He said cheated.
Well, it's cheated, yeah, but it's kind of funny, and it's refreshing, I guess, for Mike Shanahan and the Broncos, because they're the ones always being referred to, as being dirty and cheap. And Rod Smith gets that clip into the back. That's Larry Coyer there in the middle with the glasses and the gray hair.
Watts is the 3rd receiver, 2nd and 25 from the Kansas City 43. Drones hit by Pyle and then stacked up and brought down, but young Willie Pyle is the one who drove him back a couple yards to the Chiefs' 45.
Well, that play there is made by John Browning over there on the left side. Yeah, that defensive line just stuffed everything. That's why Pyle's able to come around the outside. See, Pyle comes around the outside, but it's the push up front by the D-line. Watch the offensive line back up into the backfield. The reason that corner got so short for Pyle was they were moving and pressing that Pyle backwards.
Samp becomes the 5th defensive back for the Chiefs. Watts is in, Luke is in with Smith and Lee. It's 3rd and 27. Again, they got to get to the 18. Here comes the rush, and they bring him down. Sacked on the play by Eric Hicks and Browning. It's a loss of 5. It's back to the 47-yard line. So on the first possession, and a penalty hurt Denver, they have got to punt the ball.
What has hurt Denver this year is nice plays in small sequences in drives that get ended by mistakes and miscues. The miscue was the penalty, obviously, and the ability to go backwards was that sack. I mean, this is what it's been like for the Denver Broncos offensively. Some great plays, but also surrounded by some bad ones.
Wipes out that 22-yard run by Plummer and that 17-yard reception by Rod Smith. So it's 4th down. The Jason Baker punt is away, and Dante Hall will try to fair catch it, looking up into that bright Missouri sun at the 13-yard line. 34-yard punt. There's Hall, who has the only score in the game, an electrifying 97-yard kickoff return. -1 with the wind chill factored in with Randy Cross, Kevin Harlan. Denver punts their first possession. This is the first possession for the Chiefs. Opening kickoff return for a touchdown by Dante Hall from the 13-yard line. Kansas City 1st and 10. Larry Johnson makes his first NFL start today, and he gets the call with the Shields block and a tackle made by Al Wilson, that very active middle linebacker for the Broncos. Gain of 2 to the 15. This is the second highest scoring offense in the NFL, and quarterback Trent Green has orchestrated 2 consecutive fourth-quarter comeback wins. On the line, Jordan Black is the 3rd different starting right tackle because of injury this year. And what about Dante Hall? He replaces the injured Johnny Morton at wide receiver this afternoon. 2nd down and 8 for the Chiefs at the 15. Horn is the 3rd receiver. Johnson again. Kenoy Kennedy tripped him up, and then he was hit in the backfield at about the 20-yard line by Lynch. It's a gain of 5, and he's still about 3 yards shy of a first down. All right, the Denver defense, defensive end Reggie Hayward leads the Broncos in sacks this season. Rookie linebacker DJ Williams among the favorites for the Defensive Rookie of the Year in the National Football League, and 5-time Pro Bowl safety John Lynch leads the Broncos secondary. 3rd down and 3. Broncos will stay in their base defense. The Chiefs have put another receiver out there, and in the slot, that is the tight end Gonzalez with Hall in motion. Green to Tennyson, the former Bronco, tackled by Champ Bailey. The ball was guard free. They say he is down at the 26, and Randy, he picks up 5 on 33 for a first down.
This is something that Trent Green has got to be good at, because this Denver defense does an excellent job of mixing up its looks and mixing up its fronts and mixing up its blitzes. Good example there. He had to get rid of that ball quickly because there was a blitz. Champ Bailey, nice hand fighting. That's the stuff you'd like to see defensive backs get a chance to do all over the field, actually.
Sammy Parker is in. 2 tight ends, including Dunn. 25-yard line, 1st and 10. Larry Johnson. Oh, it was a nice block by Dunn, but then he trips and Kenoy Kennedy falls on him at the 32. But it is a gain of 7 to the 32-yard line. Kansas City, Randy, is number 2 in the NFL in first drive points this season, right in back of the Colts.
You'll hear me talk a lot, too, Kevin, about the backside of blocks. And, you know, one of the reasons that this team's so good early in the game is they're so good offensively up front with their offensive line, sealing the backside of runs. And it's also something that Denver really excels at.
Now the receivers are Horn, Parker, and Johnson. In the backfield is Richardson. 2nd down for Green. It's Sammy Parker. A great move on DJ Williams and tackle downfield by Kenoi Kennedy at the Denver Broncos 45. It's a 23-yard gain, his first career catch. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Kevin, you guys will want to keep tabs on what's going on in Cleveland with the Chargers and the Browns in the red zone. Watch Cleveland quarterback Luke McCown throw this one right to Donnie Edwards. That halts a drive in a hurry. It's about 0 degrees wind chill in Cleveland. They're still scoreless in the first quarter, guys.
All right, thank you, Greg. There's the playoff picture for San Diego. It is a 1st and 10, 45-yard line. Larry Johnson, a block by Rofe. And then the tackle was made by Al Wilson, who comes tumbling on him after a gain of 2. And moments ago, we saw Sammy Parker with his first career catch in the National Football League for the Chiefs to set up this position.
And, you know, Larry Johnson has got a situation right now where he's going to get a huge amount of carries compared to the action he's seen, obviously, the last year or so. And it's very important for him, like when we talked to him on Friday, was, look, I've got to pace myself. That's Larry Johnson Sr., football coach at Penn State. I'm here to watch his son. And his son's got to learn to be a little more patient. When he makes his decision, really explode. He's done a nice job of that the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Chiefs began at their 13. They're now at the 44 of Denver, 2nd down and 8. Trent Green, Dante Hall. Kenoi Kennedy tries to grab him, knocked out of bounds by Nick Ferguson, who had just come in out of bounds at the 29. 15-yard pickup, another Kansas City first down.
How would you like to be a defensive back going against this offense when you've got Dante Hall, much less sprinkled in? Hey, tackle me. You're Herndon trying to tackle him. You can't. He's like he's got greased. Like he's got grease all over his body. And then Sammy Parker made a nice job blocking coming back.
5 in the secondary, including Ferguson. 8th play of the Kansas City drive. 1st and 10. They're at the 29-yard line of the Broncos on their first offensive possession. Larry Johnson, a Gonzalez block, and a Ferguson and Kenoi Kennedy tackle. It's a gain of 6. They'll spot him at the 23-yard line. And folks, you'll see stat tracks. It will keep you updated on today's game stats and can be seen coming out of the upper part of the screen. And then down below, at the updated scores and information of other games, that's called Game Tracks. That is seen in the lower portion of your screen all afternoon long.
So game on the bottom, stat up top, or stat up top, game on the bottom? Numbers.
You got it.
Numbers.
2nd down and 4. At the 24, there's a couple tight ends in there, including Dunn. And the handoff goes to Larry Johnson. Good block by Whitman. Good block by Parker. And Fada Fahey brings him down. Coming off the defensive line. They mark him at the 11-yard line. It's a 13-yard run for Larry Johnson, who is coming off 2 consecutive 100-yard rushing games.
Now, the part of the line that's going this way is the patient part. Then make your decision and you go. See that crease right off Wegman? Inside of Brian Waters? And that acceleration? That's something that Larry Johnson has learned to do here at Kansas City. Didn't have to do it at Penn State. And he's really starting to excel at it.
11-yard line. It is 1st and 10 in the opening drive for the Chiefs, beginning back at their 13-yard line. And Trent Green, fake end around Larry Johnson. And from behind, he is brought down by rookie D.J. Williams on the play. It is a gain of 5.5. The Chiefs in the red zone this season as they're taking this ball now deep into Denver territory. They've found that kind of success, 3rd in the National Football League.
And with Larry Johnson at halfback, they're different than Priest Holmes when he's in there. Holmes is more of a receiver, but Larry Johnson's much stronger than Priest Holmes. He's much more of a hammer runner than Priest.
2 tight ends. Richardson in the backfield from the 5. It is 2nd down and 4. The pitch out to Johnson. He's got an escort. Dallas Johnson tries to get him from behind. That cannot. It is a touchdown. They were not sure if he went right over the pylon, but he did. A 5-yard touchdown run.
Another difference between he and Priest Holmes is Larry's got to work on his crossing the goal line celebration. You know, Priest Holmes has got his little pose thing working, and Larry Johnson sees his opening, makes his move, and kind of like rumbles, stumbles, and almost face plants.
He got it in there in times, gets his extra point in there, and on that drive there was a 23-yard pass to Sammy Parker, a 15-yard catch and run by Dante Hall. And Larry Johnson had a 13-yard run on that drive and finishes with a 5-yard touchdown run. And the Chiefs up 14-0. Kickoff return for the Chiefs, and Larry Johnson moments ago capping an 11-play, 87-yard drive with his 5-yard touchdown run. Took 6.5 off the first quarter clock.
And we talked about defensive coordinator of the Broncos, Larry Coyer, complained about the offensive line of Kansas City kind of cheating and holding and whatnot. Well, that offensive line for Kansas City absolutely mauled the front seven on that whole drive.
Tynes will kick it off in a game that means so much for the Denver Broncos. They've come out flat. They punted the first time they had it. Here's Triandis Luke on the fly from the 15-yard line and trying to bust his way up the middle before he is brought down. Kieran Fox, one of a couple Chiefs to land on him at the 36, and also Willie Pyle, a 20-yard return. 14-0 Kansas City. Get the latest NFL playoff race scenarios with predictions and analysis from CBS Sportsline's NFL experts. Just click on NFL at CBSSportsline.com. From the 36, first down and 10. Ruben Drones cracks his way up to the 40-yard line. He was hit on the play by Kawika Mitchell and Ryan Sims. I'll take that back. The running back on that play for Denver was Tatum Bell.
He was tackled by Monty Meisel.
Tomorrow on CBS begins with Still Standing and Listen Up. Then don't miss TV's most watched comedies. Everybody Loves Raymond and 2.5 Men, starring Charlie Sheen, followed by CSI Miami, The Late Show with David Letterman here on CBS. Second down, 6, 40-yard line. And Tatum Bell again. And hit by Beisel, tripped up by Mitchell. Gain of 5. He's out to the 46-yard line.
And the reason that Bell was out of the game last week, and I'm a little surprised, honestly, like you, Kevin, to see him in this early. He came out and they actually called this a 3rd-degree separation of his left shoulder, and that's pretty severe. Comes out just banging the ball in there, and one thing he is a nice change of pace. Ruben Drones more of a power runner. Tatum Bell has got speed to burn. He's faster than anybody on the field.
Kyle Johnson, a lead backer here on 3rd and 1, and this is Bell spurting through, and he's down to the 45-yard line, picking up 9 on 3rd and 1. It is a first down.
You know, right now, this drive, starting off like this, is exactly what Mike Shanahan wants. He wants the defense to look at an offensive line, pushing them back. He wants the defense to look at a running back carrying the ball. He wants this game to get a little pace and a little rhythm to it, and a little bit more of a methodical pace than the kind of the hectic start it's gotten off to for the Broncos.
Johnson remains, 46-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Denver Broncos. We have the quick count. It seems every time they go up, and Rod Smith is lassoed on the play by Beisel along with Hartz. It is a gain of 3, and Rod Smith's 100th career reception against the Chiefs, the most he has had against any opponent in his long NFL career.
2nd and 7 from the 42.
And the one thing that looks kind of funny when you look at Rod Smith against Kansas City is really the touchdown number. A lot of catches, pretty good amount of yards, just hasn't had a chance to score many points. And so far today, we haven't seen receivers matched up one-on-one to get those big yards after catch.
2nd and 7, 42-yard line. And Plummer to Luke, and he is brought down quickly by McLeon, 33-yard line, gain of 9, and he's got a first down.
You look at this game and how important it is, though, Kevin, and the AFC West isn't over. You know, for all the talk that San Diego is sort of walking away with this whole thing, you know, Denver is still alive. San Diego goofs up in the snow up in Cleveland today, and Denver finds a way to come back in this game and win it, and suddenly they're just a game apart.
1st and 10, Kansas City's 33. Batier is a receiver atop your screen. Carswell is in the slot, handoff to Tatum Bell. Breaking one tackle of Mitchell, chased by Hartz and raced out of bounds by Pyle. He is running roughshod in this Kansas City defense to the 16-yard line, 17-yard pickup. And another Denver first down.
You know, one of the things people that really don't pay enough attention to at good running backs are their lower body. Watch Tatum Bell from the waist down and the strength to go with the speed. Through a tackle, You know, no one actually ever tackles Tatum Bell on that play, and most of it is because of that leg drive he's got going.
7th play of the drive. It is a first down. Here comes Bell again. And then jumping on him was Kawika Mitchell with a gain of 4 on the play, and they spot him at the 12.
If there's one thing for Denver that stands out to me as far as something they really need to improve here in the last 3 weeks if they want to go to the playoffs, is how they play in the red zone. And the 28th ranking doesn't say anything for the fact that how often they've turned the ball over and made mistakes, especially in this second half of the season, down here in the red zone.
8th play of the drive, 2nd down, short 6. Drones in the game. It began at the 36-yard line. Here's Plummer with the great fake. He hits Kyle Johnson, who is tripped up by Hartz, but falls ahead for a first down inside the Kansas City 5. It's a gain of 6, and the Broncos will have it first and goal. There is a flag on the play.
You had that quick blitz running into the heart of the line. I'm not sure if somebody wasn't offsides.
Holding, offense, number 50. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
It's left guard Ben Hamilton.
Right there in that very area we were just talking about where the sudden blitz came into the inside, and Nick Johnson limps off the field. He's been a nice re-addition to this offense. The power and finesse to the right of the center right here. Watch what happens with the blitz.
Darius Wantz becomes a receiver. 2nd down, 15. They got to get inside the Kansas City 7. Drones in the backfield, and Plummer going deep and looking for Lee, who is covered by McCleon. It's incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 15. He may have stepped out of bounds on that route. He was running down the sideline.
Well, that's something I look to see Jake Plummer try a lot. Every time you see a receiver and you sense blitz from this defense, Jake Plummer is going to try to get a one-on-one matchup, and Mike Shanahan knows the key to that is getting the ball up and letting him run after the ball. So watch the route right there. The left foot went out of bounds.
So it is 3rd and 15 from the Chiefs 22. Luke is in motion. One of 4 receivers for Plummer. The blitz is on, and the pass is caught. Rod Smith slashing in for a Denver Bronco touchdown.
That's what we talked about, Kevin. All those catches, all those yards, that's only Rod Smith's 3rd touchdown.
And Randy is first against the Chiefs since 0-1.
And nice job of doing just what we talked about. They're bringing the blitz, find the matchup, get your hot read, and Rod Smith running after the catch, getting himself 6 points and quieting down this Arrowhead crowd for the Broncos.
Elam's extra point is coming up. That was a great pass by Plummer, and the first touchdown pass he has thrown in 3 games. On that drive, a 17-yard run by Bell, capped by a 22-yard catch and run by Rod Smith, and the Broncos are back in business. After the Broncos punted the first time they had the ball, they ripped Kansas City's defense and cap it with a 22-yard touchdown strike. Plummer to Rod Smith. It was a drive that began back on the Denver Bronco 36. So now they'll kick it off with the Broncos' Jason Baker, next Kansas City kicker. And here is, back at the 7-yard line, Dante Hall, who returned his last kickoff. 97 yards for a touchdown, but Nick Ferguson gets him here along with Rock Alexander. Flag is down at about the 18-yard line. 13-yard return there.
That was a fast first quarter. Just flew by.
It was.
You feel kind of the pace slowed down a little bit of the game when Denver did that?
During the return of the kick, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 91. This penalty will be assessed half the distance to the goal. First down.
And that is Rich Scanlon, who is guilty right there, as Hall hobbles a little bit off the field. Running touchdown for the Chiefs, a kickoff return by Hall. Plummer's thrown a touchdown pass at the end of one in a big game for the Broncos. It's Kansas City 14 and Denver 7. You're watching the NFL on CBS. There's Jake Plummer, who just threw his first touchdown pass since November 28 in Invesco against the Raiders. And it was good, I'm sure, feeling for him, as he has taken a lot of heat this week with the obscene gesture last week, the fine from the NFL. Here's a 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. They begin it at their 10-yard line. Larry Johnson. And brought down by Spragan, the linebacker, gain of 4 out to the 14-yard line.
Take a quick look here at that last touchdown by Rod Smith. Here he is in the slot. Watch the blitz. He's coming off the backside. but then the nice job
4 yards on the carry.
by Rod Smith reading the blitz, heading to clear into the zone, nobody there, then just using speed to break the zone and break the defender's tackle angles. That was a nice read by Jake and perfect execution by Rod Smith.
Rayleigh Johnson is on that line with Fadafehi, Pope, and Hayward. That sets up the new alignment there. Second down 6. Chiefs at their 14. Richardson in the backfield with the fake to Johnson. Fumble on the play. Wilson knocked it away from Green, and it looks like the Chiefs have recovered the ball. That's the initial call from the field. Wilson came streaming through.
Well, you have to like really what the Denver Broncos are doing defensively on this series. Is what they're doing is they're coming out and they're attacking. And they saw Dick Vermeil's offensive line pretty much maul them on that last possession. What do you do to cure that? Well, you bring some blitzes and you physically go after Trent Green in this offense. You can't sit back against Kansas City. They're too good up front. 3rd and 13, Alexander, an extra defensive back.
And look at Larry Johnson. Pound his way past the 15, but shy of a first down. Brought down by Kenoy Kennedy at about the 17-yard line. A little bit of breathing space, but it's 3 and out for the Chiefs after the 10-yard gain by Larry Johnson. And they got a punt, Kansas City does, for the first time this afternoon.
Daryl Jennings, who's our umpire in the middle, just got steamrolled on that last play. It was one of those life is timing, and when you're in the middle of that mess in there, sometimes you get caught up in the mess.
Steve Cheek to punt. There is a wind in his face. And Triandis Luke is back at about the 40 for the Broncos. And this is a poor punt landing near midfield. And then with a good Kansas City bounce, it will walk its way inside the 40-yard line. But decent beginning field position for the Broncos, who scored the last time they had it on a 22-yard touchdown pass. Plummer to Smith. 12:56 and a half.
That last series, that sack and fumble, there's Al Wilson. Look at Richardson and Johnson, the running backs, trying to block him. You got a Nolan Ryan on the first one, and Nolan Ryan on the second one, and causes the fumble, and it's a dive for the ball, and it all ends up back in Trent Green's hands.
Hape and Putzier are in the game. It's 1st and 10 after the Kansas City punt. 39-yard line. Play action by Plummer, which was so effective in the first meeting between these two. Putzier gets the ball. He is tackled by McLeon. Head over heels to the 45. He picks up 16 yards on the play and a Denver first down again.
If you're playing Jake Plummer, you've got to stay at home on the backside, because Jake Plummer's good at faking and he can run. Backside, Jared Allen, the rookie defensive lineman, didn't stay at home. Neither did the backside backer, and Jake was able to exploit that. And he'll do that all day long. In fact, that's where he feels most comfortable.
First down and 10. Drones in the game, offers a block in time for Plummer, and it's intercepted, picked off by Dexter McLeon. With an escort and a block by Karika Mitchell, he is tackled on the play by Nalen, and he goes to the 45-yard line of the Denver Broncos in the game's first turnover.
You know, in the pregame show, I talked about those Billy Graham passes, the ones that make Bronco fans stand up and go, "Jeez!" There's one right there.
Jake Plummer has just thrown his 8th interception in the last 4 games. McLeon picks him off to the Denver 44. It's 1st and 10. The fake to Johnson, and Green will throw incomplete. There is no flag on the play. He was going for Gonzalez, who was covered by the linebackers, Spragan and Wilson. 2nd down and 10.
Well, the crowd doesn't like this, but I got to think, and Gonzalez, the middle guy there, up top, see him make his cut. Look at Spragan. I'll be honest, I think that's good defensive play. He got there just as the ball did. That was not interference.
Parker is in motion. One of 3 Kansas City receivers from the 43. It's 2nd down and 10, and he was tripped up by Kennedy. And Larry Johnson is finally brought down by Palapoy and Lynch on a gain of 6. And he's to the 38-yard line.
Real quick to the interception. There's Ashley Lee. There's Dexter McLeon. Watch as the Lee runs down the field. And Plummer thinks he's going to stop at the sticks. Right there. So that's where he's throwing the ball on timing. The Lee keeps going. I don't know, whatever that was.
Conclusion of the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 47 defense.
Lynch.
Threw an elbow into the player on the ground. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Randy, we were in our replay when they threw that flag. It was a late flag thrown on John Lynch.
That was a one heck of a run by Larry Johnson, spinning and running. And Lynch comes in at the very end of the play. See, here's John Lynch. Watch him come in at the end of the play. Right there. That little elbow to the chops when Johnson was on the ground. You know, you hate to get a penalty, but that's something the Denver Broncos defense needs. And in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's something that John Lynch has really brought to this defense is some of his personality. And Larry Coyer and the defense and Mike Shanahan have gotten to the point where I think they know John Lynch a little bit better, and they're putting him in positions to make some big plays. But Lynch brings attitude, and obviously not all of it is good at times, but he's a guy that will flat just light people up, and that's what this defense needs, him to hit people, not cover people.
2 Kansas City tight ends, third penalty, 40 yards against the Broncos in the game. It is 1st and 10, the fake to Richardson, and Green the time, and here comes the rush by Coleman and Fadafehi, and he is devoured back at the 29-yard line. That is the second sack and loss on the play. Greg Gumbel at 6, back to the 29 as we send it to you in New York.
All right, Kevin, thank you. And we'll send you to Cleveland, where LaDainian Tomlinson has scored from a yard out in the cold and the snow to give the Chargers a 7-point lead. They're in the second quarter. 11th straight game. LT has scored a rushing touchdown, guys.
And Greg, he is the number 8 running back coming in this week in the National Football League with the Chargers playoff picture right there.
Marty Schottenheimer is going to get a lot of Coach of the Year votes for the job he's done in San Diego.
2nd and 15. They got to get inside the 15-yard line. Here's a Larry Johnson handoff and a block by Wakeman, and finally brought down by Lynch and by Ellis Johnson as he carries them inside the 20-yard line. 9-yard gain.
You talk about a little bit about what a guy like Larry Johnson brings. It's power. You know, Priest Holmes very elusive. Blaylock, a lot of speed, elusive. Johnson is fast, but he's got the ability just to flat lower his shoulder and really power through some runs. And his balance and everything else right now today, he's got 12 carries for 73 yards, and he's off to a heck of a nice, powerful start for this Chiefs offense.
Base defense for the Broncos, 3rd and 6. 3 wide receivers for Green, who throws down the middle, caught by Gonzalez, tripped up by Kennedy inside the 10-yard line, wheels his way for a first down. He is near the 7, a pickup of 12, 1st and goal for the Chiefs, who began this drive on the Denver 44 on a McCleon interception of Jake Plummer.
That's him in the motion, in the slot there, moving. Gonzalez comes out of that slot, finds a hole, gets in front of Herndon. Denver in a 2 deep with their safeties, 12, 15 yards off the ball, and is really making a big difference. Late support by the safeties. Green will eat them up in 2 deep.
It's a 1st and goal after that 13-yard catch and run by Gonzalez. 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. Green to the end zone. It's caught for a touchdown. Eddie Kennison.
That was a very nice job of Kennison running the route all the way, and Green giving him the time to do it because he's being trailed the whole way by Champ Bailey, coming from the far right of Trent Green all the way across. You know what that means? The line gave him great protection. Kennison can run the route, and Champ Bailey just about a half step behind Kennison.
And here is the extra point by Lawrence Tynes, and on that drive, which began back at the Denver 44 on the McCleon interception, a 9-yard run by Larry Johnson, a 13-yard catch by Gonzalez, and that strike right there, 7 yards, Green to Kennison.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by A Diamond is Forever. This Christmas, give her a piece of eternity. Capital One, what's in your wallet? And by Nextel. Nextel helps groups get things done. Nextel. Done.
It's one below in Kansas City with Randy Cross. Kevin Harlan, the Broncos in a playoff race, tied for 6th spot in the AFC with Baltimore. Chiefs have scored on 2 of their 3 offensive possessions. Most recently, a Kennison touchdown pass from Trent Green. 21-7 Kansas City. The ensuing kickoff, which is short and picked up by Luke on the fly. He's past the 30 and hit by Benny Sapp, a special teams ace and a distant relative of Warren Sapp, and he's out of bounds at about the 35 on a 13-yard return. A big-time interception off of Plummer sets up this Green to Kennison touchdown strike.
2 Super Bowl League MVP, a member of the 2,000-yard club.
And it's pronounced Terrell.
Terrell Davis joins an all-pro lineup on NFL Network.
A special gift. The NFL on Christmas Day. The Oakland Raiders drive into Kansas City for a showdown with the Chiefs. Christmas Day on CBS.
From the 35-yard line, Plummer, who threw a pick the last time out there, has it 1st and 10. He's got a couple of tight ends lined up. The fake to Tatum Bell, and Plummer gets a block from Carlisle and throws a wobbly pass, which is dropped by Bell. Covered by Beisel. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
Let's take another look at that touchdown by Kennison. Here's Kennison. There's Champ Bailey. Watch what Kennison does. All the way around and then back here. Bailey picks him up. Kennison just flat runs away from him. Bailey never really gets close enough to count as a cover. I think Trent Green's been very frustrated. You haven't seen that emotion in a while.
The 2 tight ends remain. The Chiefs in their base defense. 2nd down and 10. There goes a flag, and they're going to blow that dead in mid-motion. This is the 4th penalty, or rather, it is the 4th penalty for Denver and the 4th possession for the Broncos today as well.
False start. Offense. Number 88. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Well, they got 4 penalties and 45-yard worth of penalties today. And log on to NFL.com and see why Shannon Sharp calls this one of the best and worst seasons he's ever seen. Read more about it on NFL.com or NFL on AOL.
Well, Kevin, Mike Shanahan and Rod Smith and Jake Plummer and everyone we talked to said, we don't want a shootout. Kansas City wins shootouts. Well, boys, you better figure out a way to win one if you want to win this game and stay in the playoff hunt.
2nd down, 15, and a pass almost picked off by Kawika Mitchell. Putzier was downfield, and I think that might have been who Plummer was going through, but it was getting awful crowded in the pocket.
Lionel Dalton does a wonderful job coming inside. Look at the defensive tackles push into the backfield. There's Lionel Dalton right in Jake Plummer's face. That's why that ball came wobbling out there. That's a good reason why some guys play defense.
Darius Watts becomes a wide receiver. There is a 5th defensive back in for the Chiefs. 3rd and 15. Denver's got to get to the 45. And Plummer throws, and it is caught by Lilly for a 1st down, tumbling to the Kansas City 49-yard line. A 22-yard pickup on 3rd and 15.
Well, the Denver offensive line does a nice job of giving Jake the time for this to develop, because that takes a long time to develop down the field. And the reason that's there is Rod Smith is behind Ashley Lilly deep. That pulls the safeties back, and that opens up that hole behind the linebackers for the lead in the 1st down.
Now Watts and Luke are in the game as receivers. The handoff to Tatum Bell on 1st down and 10, and he goes right to the teeth of that Kansas City defense and hit by Browning, among others, on a meager gain of a yard. And get into the holiday spirit with Dave in the Late Show. Monday, don't miss the very funny Bill Murray. Dave's all new all this week right here on CBS, America's most watched network. Denver comes in having lost 2 of 3. Kansas City has won 2 straight games.
Well, you're in your own territory if you're Kansas City's defense. Don't stop attacking now. Being aggressive is what's got you where you are in this game.
Putzier is at the bottom of your screen as a wide receiver, although he plays tight end. Hape is in the backfield. 2nd down, 9, and look at that. Seaby just absolutely crushes Tatum Bell. A loss of 2, and it goes back to about the 49-yard line. That was a clumsy-looking play.
I'm not sure who stopped Tatum Bell more, Junior Seaby or Jake Plummer, 16. Watch the handoff. I mean, heck, Plummer and Plummer and Bell had more of a shot than CFE and Bell did. This Denver offense, this Denver team, I mean, you look at this team today, how on God's green earth can this be a team ranked in the top 5 offensively and defensively with the mistakes they make? It's amazing they're ranked that high. It's a testament to the kind of talent they have, but it's amazing they can be ranked that high.
And to play in a game with so much meaning and be down 21-7, our scoreboard is out. Now it pops back on. You know, it's hard to believe, Randy, but this, it looks like one of the most modern stadiums in the National Football League, but in reality, it is one of the oldest stadiums in the National Football League. Out of the 32 NFL stadiums, 25 are within a couple years old. That includes Invesco out in Denver. But this is one of the oldest, along with San Diego and some others around the NFL. And occasionally,
some great football fans here in Kansas City, though. I was up there in that.
And the clocks will start on my signal.
I was up there in that high end zone for the pregame today.
3rd and 11 from midfield.
Yeah,
Just some wonderful people
there, by the
That's
way.
the real people up there. You don't want to go to a suite. I want to see real football fans. Go up high for real fans.
3rd and 11. They got to get to the 39. Darius Watts is a receiver. There are a couple tight ends. Chiefs have got an extra defensive back. That's Luke on the move. 49-yard line. And Plummer throws, and it is caught by Lilly, dropped and loose, and they say it was down, but shy of a first down. At the 41-yard line, he had to get to the 39, and now you're faced with 4th down and about 2, and a big decision coming up.
Well, you're going to punt this ball, I think, if you're Denver.
They don't got their punting unit on the field.
There's my spot up there. I told the guys up there, Max, Randy, Brian, Mark, you're up here in this section right up there where I was earlier. We're going to go for it on 4th down. Those guys up there got a perfect view of this offense from there.
Bell's in the backfield, 4th and 2 for Plummer. And Plummer hit by Mitchell, and they do not get it. They'll have to turn it over on downs. Kawika Mitchell with a big play. They knock him down at the 41. There's no gain on the play, and the gamble doesn't pay off, and Denver has to give it back to Kansas City on a drive which saw 2 big plays by Ashley Lilly go for naught.
I don't like that decision at all. I think you punt that ball for this very reason. Now you're giving a hot offense a short field.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nikon Digital. If the picture matters, the camera matters. And by the Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
In a game of vital importance for the Denver Broncos, a gamble on 4th and 2 doesn't pay off, and the Chiefs take over at their own 42-yard line. The Chiefs have scored on a kickoff return to begin things here in Kansas City.
That's the difference between desperate and I think, maybe in other games not doing that kind of thing. I don't know why Mike Shanahan did that.
Green on 1st and 10. There's a block by Larry Johnson and a diving catch by Dunn, the tight end.
Flag down. Illegal contact.
Tackle was made by Sprague. He was close to a first down. There is a flag down, as Randy says here on the numbers, on the near side of the field. Again, the Chiefs scored a 97-yard kickoff return by Hall to begin the game. They get a 5-yard touchdown run by Larry Johnson. They got a touchdown pass to Kennison from Green. And the only score today by the Denver Broncos came on a well-thrown 22-yard strike. Plummer to Rod Smith. 21-7 Kansas City. We've had 1 turnover. Plummer has thrown the interception. And that set up that touchdown pass on the last Kansas City possession.
Illegal contact against an eligible receiver, defense, number 31. This penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Gain of 9 yards on the pass play.
Let's take another look at that 4th down play that Mike Shanahan's offense had earlier and look why it broke down. See, you can see the protection start to break down, but look down the field at where Jake had to go. I mean, Jake's got nobody to throw to. Everybody else is in on protection, and they're covered down the field. I mean, this defense is playing decent, and this offense for Kansas City is so dangerous.
2nd down, short one. They get the first down. Larry Johnson getting tackled by Sprague, 46-yard line. Gain of 3. Move the chains.
Well, they didn't want to get in a shootout, and I said it earlier. Well, guess what, Sparky? You are in a shootout. You are in a flat track meet. with the Kansas City Chiefs from this point out, because you're going to be very, very lucky if you escape giving up points here on this drive with the confidence that Trent Green and this offense is playing with right now.
It is a first down, and the Chiefs are at the Denver 46. Kennison is on the move. Richardson is in the backfield. And the handoff to Dante Hall. There's a pulling block by Brian Waters and shoved out of bounds by 5-time Pro Bowl safety John Lynch. He's to the 40-yard line, picking up 6 on the play as we pick up Greg Gumbel in our studios in New York.
All right, Kevin, not the best of news for Denver fans. The Chargers are rolling in Cleveland again. Drew Brees to Antonio Gates, 72 yards, his 12th TD catch of the year. That ties the record for the most in a season by a tight end. It's 14-0 Chargers coming up on 2 minutes to play in Cleveland, guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, Drew Brees, the 4th-rated quarterback coming into today in the National Football League. 7 consecutive San Diego wins.
How's it going, Keaton?
From the 40. It is 2nd down and 4. And they try to grind out a couple of yards in there with a gain to about the 38-yard line by Larry Johnson. Tackle was made by D.J. Williams, a gain of 2.
Yeah, you see Antonio Gates make a play like that, and we've got the other big tight end in this league, and Tony Gonzalez in this game. And that's one thing that the Denver Broncos offense is really missing since they lost Shannon Sharp. I mean, they miss that tweener, that real weapon out of the tight end position that can go anywhere. That's something they don't have, and Kansas City definitely does.
3rd down and 2 from the 38. Richardson is in motion. And Green with Larry Johnson back to block. It's a pass to Kennison, who is down to the 32-yard line. Sprague makes the tackle, and there's a flag on the play.
This could be against the offense.
Gain was to the 32.
Tony Gonzalez went downfield and kind of threw a screen on a couple guys.
By the way, Gonzalez has been blocking great of late, too.
Holding against an eligible receiver, defense number 47. This penalty is declined. The result of the play, first down.
That's the 2nd on Lynch.
Yeah, but I mean, kind of like in boxing and in some sports, sometimes you got to let the guys play. Check out John Lynch, 47. Tony Gonzalez kind of in a pick move, settles into him. You know, oh, geez, he held me.
Chiefs have scored on 2 of their 3 possessions. They began this drive on their 42. They're right now at the Denver 32. 2 tight ends in there for Green. Larry Johnson, nice block by Jordan Black. Look at Larry Johnson, throw up for 6. His 2nd touchdown today.
There's Larry Johnson's father. He's seen a good highlight reel out of his son. What a run. Backside of the play. Brian Waters, Willie Rowe, Wegman, Big Will Shields making an all-pro block. And Larry Johnson, just the old shortest distance between 2 points, just running straight ahead.
Extra point is up and through by times. 2 rushing touchdowns by Larry Johnson. The Chiefs are all over the Broncos, 28-7. Johnson with his 2nd touchdown run. He's got over 100 yards on the ground for a 3rd consecutive game, but that was all set up as the Chiefs took over at their 42 after Denver didn't get it on 4th and 2 themselves, and they turned it back over on downs.
For my way of thinking, in a game like this, you got to do it not so much knowing your team. I think you got to do it knowing the other guys in the feel of this particular game. And I think by Mike and the Denver coaches, that was a miscalculation. Really not taking Kansas City and their momentum and their offense seriously enough, because they got mauled. You know, they did it on the pass, they did it on the run, they got mauled again and gave them another 7 points.
Tynes with the kickoff. Luke on the fly from the 20-yard line, and the rookie is whacked pretty hard as he gets out to the 37-yard line, and he's hit by Jimmy Wilkerson. A 17-yard return. Denver gets it back.
Just look at one thing. Contact. Look at the contact between the blockers and the defenders. The blockers don't lose contact. They're always back to the guy they're blocking on. Larry Johnson has a clear path and a clear vision straight to the end zone, and that's because of the guys up front. He makes one move, runs straight ahead. 15 carries, 110 yards, and the recipient of some great blocking.
Putzier is at the bottom of your screen. Drones in the backfield. 1st and 10 for Plummer. Dropped by Drones, who has had some fumbling problems of late. Now he's got a drop pass right there. 2nd down and 10. The Nextel halftime report is coming up from New York in our CBS studios, and Greg Gumbel will be there with Dan Marino, Shannon Sharp, and Boomer Esiason. The Nextel halftime report right here on CBS. Up next from New York.
Need to get Shannon on a stealth bomber and get him out here for the second half for Denver. I think they need him.
A couple years ago, we saw him eat up this Kansas City
Wasn't
team.
that the all-time receiving record for a tight end, yardage-wise?
2nd down and 10 for Plummer after some play action and looking downfield and chased by Jared Allen and throws on the fly, and it's incomplete. Putzier was covered by Beisel at the 50-yard line. Incomplete pass. 3rd down and 10. Kansas City has not lost in December at home since 1996. And Denver has lost a couple of those December games along the way.
Now, remember, Kevin, coming in this game, Denver wanted a methodical game. Okay? They definitely have not got a methodical game. Now what Denver has is a hyperventilating, high-scoring, high-energy game. You've got to change your way of thinking. You've got to start really going to all passing, all throwing, and all risk.
3rd down and 10. The Chiefs have got 6 in the secondary. And Hicks is chasing Plummer, who throws complete to Triandis Luke, who is tagged by Benny Sapp. It is a gain of 6, 4 yards shy of a 1st down, and Denver has got a punt again.
And part of that going to the all-pass, all-risk mentality, I think, for Denver is you're going to have to adjust your blocking. Because right now, your offensive line, which is an excellent run-blocking offensive line, is having one heck of a time dealing with the Kansas City pass rush.
Baker to punt. And it wobbles its way into the grasp of an awaiting Dante Hall at the 17-yard line, hit by Sprague and dragged down at the 30-yard line. 13-yard Hall return, 37-yard Baker punt. Tonight on CBS, a young DA found murdered. Now 5 years later, cold case detectives retrace his last steps. And you won't believe where they lead. Don't miss a new cold case. That's tonight at 8, 7 Central on CBS, America's most watched network.
Hey, you want a little incentive if you're Denver? Well, this is the incentive. There's an awful lot of names on that list before you get to in the hunt. That's an unusual setting for the Denver Broncos, a team that won back-to-back Super Bowls late in the 90s. Now they've just sort of been in the hunt for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's an uncomfortable position for the Broncos.
Locke Alexander is a 5th defensive back. It is 1st and 10, and after the Denver punt, Larry Johnson is drilled by Al Wilson and driven back. 31-yard line. It's a 1-yard gain, 2nd down and 9.
And you look back at that last graphic we showed, Kevin, about, in the hunt group. How excited are these guys right here, the Baltimores and the Jets? They've got TVs. They get updated scores. They look at this score and see 28-7 Kansas City at Arrowhead. They're excited. I mean, they're ecstatic that Denver's going to help them out, potentially.
6 in the secondary. Ferguson is in there now. 2nd down and 9. That is Sammy Parker, who caught his first NFL reception earlier in the game, and a handoff to Larry Johnson. Brought down again. Al Wilson was in there, but it was really Monsanto Pope and Ellis Johnson throwing him for a 1-yard loss back near the 30-yard line. Denver has taken a timeout. They burn their first. Down 28-7 in a game with heavy playoff implications. Coming up the next till halftime report, Greg, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, scores, news, highlights around the NFL from New York. Is next on the Nextel. I guess it's called the Sprint Nextel. That's a Kansas City-based company. Is Sprint. They merged with Nextel, and have to get some government approval on that. But it's big news for the people here in Kansas City. 3rd down and 9, 32-yard line. You got to get up to the 41.
Plenty of time here, Kevin. 2:17 left. Plenty of time for either offense.
2 tight ends. Chakora is on the defensive line for Denver. He comes charging at Green. There's a block by Rofe in time with the pass to Kennison, who is whacked hard by the Pro Bowler Champ Bailey. Shy of a 1st down. Nailed at the 39. Gain of 8, and they got a punt.
That was a very important tackle by Champ Bailey. You give Kansas City a first down there, they may score on you again. Now your offense gets the ball back.
We're at the 2-minute warning. Kansas City has scored 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 through the air, and Dante Hall returning 1 the distance. Chiefs have got a punt. Good defensive series for the Denver Broncos. A horrible Steve Cheek punt, which flounders its way to the 31-yard line. It rolls out of bounds on its own accord. There's a flag far side in front of the Denver bench, 33-yard line. After that punt went 28 yards.
It's going to be against Denver.
Again, they've already had 4 penalties and 45 yards today.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 40. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That is Jeff Schott, who is a rookie from San Diego State and a special teams performer. All right, give us now a feel for what Plummer's thinking. He's got 1:51 and a couple timeouts left in the half.
Well, he's thinking, dang, I guess I got to do it the hard way. You know, he and Mike Shanahan and the Broncos came into this game with a specific plan, and if it was on one side of a huge piece of paper, what they're facing right now is on the exact opposite side of the page. This is the hard way. They had a chance at the easy way. They didn't want to take it. Now they got to go the hard way.
Kansas City's got 6 in the secondary. It's 1st and 10 for Jake Plummer. Just before halftime, goes underneath. Tremendous Luke is hit by Warfield. He's out of Nebraska. The tackle made at the 31. Gain of 11, first down.
Well, you got 1:40. You got 2 timeouts. There's no reason to rush here. Take your time. Make sure you got your players in the right spot.
Samp and Wesley are the extra 2 defensive backs for the Chiefs. 1st and 10 for Plummer. Drills one outside. Caught by Rod Smith. Grabbed by Fujita. There's a penalty. No, the timeout they're going to call. 37-yard line is where the gain is to. It's a gain of 7 yards. A Denver timeout with 1 remaining. We pause. Next month on CBS, get ready for a whole new kind of crime solving. 2 brothers, one's an FBI agent, the other's a math genius. Their secret weapon, numbers. Coming in January to CBS, America's most watched network. 2nd down 3 after that timeout. Denver's got 1. Chiefs have 3. Ball at the 38-yard line. And Jake Plummer. Here comes Stills for the Chiefs. There's a pass to Putzier. Tackle is made by Kawika Mitchell and Benny Samp. Gain of 5 to the 43-yard line. It is a Denver first down.
So you get a chance, don't watch the ball. Watch Ryan Sims. He's right over Tom Nail in the center. He's doing a great job of walking this pocket straight back into Plummer's lap.
43-yard line, good block by Alexis. 1st down and 10. The pass caught by Darius Watts. He's tackled by Warfield of the Chiefs. They're down to the Kansas City 43. It's a gain of 13. And a timeout Denver. They began this drive on the 21. They're out of timeouts. They're down 28-7 in an all-important game. Here is Jason Elam right there, and he kicked a game-winning field goal of 50 yards against Miami a week ago.
And he's all bundled up. The only reason you can tell which guy he is, if you look down at his feet, different color, different kind of shoes on. Only the kicker has different shoes.
It is a 1st and 10. They're at the Kansas City 43. It is -1 here, and we're as cold as the fans are, so if our mouths get a little bit stuck, that is why. And our minds. Yeah, that's right. Here's Plummer, and throws a pass to Rod Smith, who is hugged by Fujita. 38-yard line, gain of 5. Clock continues to tick.
About 10 yards away from realistic field goal range in these kind of conditions.
Denver's out of timeouts. 4 receivers deployed by Plummer. And he throws again, and that is uncatchable to Luke, who is covered on the play by Benny Samp. So now it is 3rd and 5. And we've got 35 seconds to play in the first half. And again, Denver has no timeouts remaining.
Now, where you really want to get to, if you're Elam, you want him to get at least to about the 24-yard line, which is going to make it, you know, right about in there for a kick. So you're talking about a 42, 43-yard kick.
Four receivers, 38, 3rd and 5. They've got to get to the 34 for the first down. Looked like Sims was offsides, and that will blow the play dead. They were sending out a blitz. Barty was Kansas City.
Yeah, sometimes you react to the ball, and when the center moves around as much as Nalen does, sometimes you react to his motion.
Encroachment, defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
Second penalty on the Chiefs for 14 yards total. Denver 5 for 55.
First and 10.
And what, not so much the offsides, what you got to really take a look at is Nalen and his head. Nalen's the center right there. Watch the motion once he looks down and snaps back up. That's exactly what Sim sees, and he moves.
6 Kansas City defensive backs, 33-yard line, first and 10 for Plummer. Knocked away by Benny Sapp, who raced right in front of the intended receiver, Ashley Lilly. Second down and 10. No timeouts for the Broncos and 31 seconds remaining in the half.
Well, in these conditions, a quarterback really has to be careful of poachers, because you get defensive poachers in these positions because they're just looking to take a chance. They're not bringing blitzes. You might think they're bringing blitzes, but they're sitting back and they're covering. And that leaves that one little poacher in the hole like Benny Sapp.
Luke Lilly, Watson Smith, receiver, second down and 10. And there's a pass, and it goes outside, and it's caught by Luke. Gain of 5 to the 27-yard line and tackled by Wesley.
No timeouts. Remember, you need 15 seconds to run your field goal team on, so this one's got to be out of bounds or incomplete.
Marking at the 28 for Plummer. And moves up nicely and throws a pass. Broken up, incomplete. Sapp there again, right in front of Rod Smith, and there is a flag. Yep, at the 11-yard line.
They're going to call that for early contact on Rod Smith by Sapp.
Pass interference, defense, number 20. Automatic, first down.
Okay, now, Randy, what do you do? This is really an interesting call coming up.
First, you look at this. Come on, easy, easy. There's Sapp and Smith. Early contact is right now. The ball's not there, and he's hitting him. But to answer your question, you kick it.
All right.
You know, you got 7 seconds left, and honestly, maybe in some circumstances when you're really on a roll and your timing's perfect, you might take a chance at running a play here. But timing being perfect and being on a roll is not how I refer to the Denver Broncos right now.
Not now, but they will, looks like, score before halftime, and a timeout taken by the Chiefs, and they burn their first of the half, so they've got 2 remaining. This upcoming will be a 37-yard try for Jason Ealer.
Yeah, I'll emphasize one thing here before we get done with this first half. It's 28-7. This game is so far from being over when these kind of two teams get together, especially out here in the AFC West. I mean, 21 points is nothing to the Denver Broncos offensively if they put their minds to it.
And of course, they've got a quarterback in Jake Plummer who has led 19 game-winning comeback drives in the fourth quarter. And that is something to keep in your hip pocket. And Plummer has thrown an interception today. He has thrown a touchdown pass today. Kansas City has scored on a kickoff return to open up the game. Dante Hall racing 97 yards. They also had a Kennison touchdown reception and 2 Larry Johnson touchdown runs.
But Rod Smith and Jake Plummer don't play defense. Denver's defense has to put some sort of stop into Kansas City if they've got any chance of coming back.
37-yard try by Elam. And that brings the Broncos to within a 28-10 reach of the Chiefs with 4 seconds remaining in the first half. Again, he had that game winner last week. Well, coming up next, Byron Leftwich and the Jacksonville Jaguars need a win to stay in the hunt. Well, Brett Favre and the Packers can clinch a postseason spot with a win. Or you'll see the Titans take on the Raiders. It's a doubleheader Sunday on CBS. Check local listings for the game and time in your area.
Heard a funny little note about Jacksonville. You know, Byron Leftwich made a point this week that he knew he was going to Green Bay, so, you know, knew they were in a tight hunt. You know, Green Bay's leading that division, and Jacksonville's in the hunt for a playoff spot. He prepared for playing in Green Bay and Jacksonville by driving to work in the morning with his windows rolled down. I'd love to get a quote from him right now. How much that helps you when you're up there in Green Bay. I'm sure Dick Enberg and Dan Deerdorf will have that covered as well as always, and they will be, like us, a little on the brisk side, but maybe a little bit more.
I think single digits is just the temperature. Then the wind chill is factored in. Last night, my wife and I were looking on the computer. Wind a mile an hour off Green Bay, 50 miles an hour is what it was blowing there last night. So even if there's some of that wind left over today, it will be very chilly up there.
A little ice sailing out there.
There's something going on, and it's not fun. It is Now Baker with the ball teed up at the 30-yard line.
Watch Brett Favre throw for 300 yards now.
Well, he's got a terrific December record, and it bobbles along, and Sapp got on it, and then he lets it go by, and Hall picks it up, and then he's brought down by Lewis Green out of Alcorn State, and that will end our first half. So the Broncos get a field goal on their last possession, perhaps momentum going in for Jake Plummer and his offense as they trail the Chiefs 28-10 at halftime. After this message and a word from your local station, we take you to New York for the Nextel halftime report. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Halftime report. Nextel helps groups get things done. Nextel, done.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our New York studios in the Nextel halftime report. Greg Gumbel along with Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and our guest from Pittsburgh, Jerome Bettis of the AFC North champion Steelers. Our score at the break, the Chiefs are leading the Broncos 28-10. Shannon, how'd they get there?
Yeah, being a former Bronco, the one thing you can't allow to happen is the crowd get into the game, and they do just that with Dante Hall. 97 yards. Y'all better get him because this crowd's going to get rocking. Stop the portion in the end zone, 7-0 at this point. 2nd and 4 from the 5, Larry Johnson does what Priest Holmes does, score touchdowns. 14-0 at this point. Now it's 21-7. Larry Johnson saying, Coach Vermeil, diaper this. 28-7. 28-10 at the half. Excuse me.
And the Chiefs are rolling. A loss by the Broncos today means the Chargers win the AFC West. Look at Larry Johnson's number, 17 for 111 and 2 touchdowns. Chiefs, the only team in the NFL with 3 running backs with 5 or more touchdowns each. Meanwhile, the Chargers in Cleveland, Dan.
And the weather's a little frightening outside for the Chargers here. They're hanging out around the heaters. Luke McCown rolls to his right. He makes a big mistake here early in the first half. He finds Donnie Edwards in the end zone, but he plays for the Chargers. They turn that around. The Chargers come down the field. LT punches it in for a 1-yard touchdown. Then Drew Brees finds the footing a little tough for him. Mike Myers gets an easy sack right there, and then Drew Brees comes back. Little play action to the left of LT. Tight end going up the sideline, Antonio Gates. No one's around to cover him. He goes 72 yards for a touchdown. Big play for him. He ties the single-season touchdown record for tight ends in a year with 12. And San Diego's winning 14-0.
And appear to be on their way to an AFC West title. Look at the running backs involved in today's game. LaDainian Tomlinson, cold weather hasn't hurt him much, has it? 15 carries, 71 yards, and the touchdown. New York Jets are home, and they're leading at halftime 24-14. Talk about Chad Pennington's sore shoulder. He was 11 of 14 for 164 yards and a touchdown in the first half. Helped mightily by Curtis Martin, Jerome.
And that's exactly what I didn't want to see. Curtis Martin having a big day, sending me down to 6th place. I mean, it's the worst day you can have.
It's nice to be in a place anyway.
Wait a minute, you had a pretty good day yesterday. Don't worry about it. You're on the
guys are winning, man.
You're doing a good job.
It's not bad.
And you can't drop any lower because the guys behind you are retired.
Dan's
so
going to second. Dan's going to
second
second tonight.
Okay, well, you can tell me what it
for the
feels
single
like.
season.
All right, guys. Buffalo is at Cincinnati. Boomer.
That's all about mistakes for the Bengals. But right here, Drew Bledsoe finds that second receiver that Shannon said was going to have a big day. That's Lee Evans. That's a touchdown. How about this? All right, you said it, Dan. Jason Peters comes in here, blocks it with his left arm. Hey, Bengals, how about coming back and running back for the ball? No, I don't think so. Jason Peters falls on it. 14-7 Buffalo. Then John Kitna. This is the other mistake the Bengals have made. Throws it against the grain, trying to avoid the rush. Takeo Spikes, the former Bengal, picks it off, takes it back for a touchdown. Buffalo goes up 21-7. The Bengals kick a field goal right before the end of the half. And the story in this game, Willis McGahee was helped off the field. He was injured, went into the locker room. We don't know the status, 24-10. Take a look at this. Drew Bledsoe, only 6 of 12, 82 yards, but no interceptions.
And Jerome was quick to point out they're running out of running backs up in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's going to be dangerous because we play them in 2 weeks. So you don't wish that McGahee's down, but
it may slow him down.
Hey,
You don't feel bad.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining right now.
All right. Meanwhile, Minnesota is at Detroit today, and that game is now just into the third quarter, and the Vikings hold a 1-point lead on the Lions. Dante Culpepper has thrown an 82-yard touchdown pass to Randy Moss. Culpepper already with 254 yards throwing. 14 points on the board. They lead it by 1. Houston's in Chicago, Dan.
And we got a sloppy game so far here in Thomas Jones muffs the handoff. Jason Babbitt picks it up for the Houston Texans, trying to return it, gets caught from behind. Rough day for the kickers. Texans kicker Chris Brown. Little bit of a bad snap, which cost him the time to be off. He shanks it to the right. And then Paul Ettinger, the kickers, trying to throw a pass. Shouldn't have the kickers throw passes. Aaron Glenn intercepts, picks it off, goes up the field, which leads to a shank by Paul Ettinger of the Bears. And then David Carr finds Corey Bradford down the sideline, 37-yard touchdown. So far, that's really the only positive in this game.
This is the only first meeting between these two teams, and coming up on 11 minutes to play in the third quarter, it is a 7-0 lead for Houston as you look at the numbers put up by Carr and Hutchinson. And in Philadelphia, it's a 7-6 Dallas lead early in the second half. Story of this game is that Terrell Owens has left the game with an apparent knee injury. There is no further word. Thanks for joining us here on the Nextel Halftime Report. We'll send you back to Kansas City for the second half after this.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Halftime Report. Nextel helps groups get things done. Nextel.
An important game for the Denver Broncos. They've got one touchdown pass from Plummer. The Chiefs have gotten a kickoff return from Dante Hall, Kennison a touchdown reception, and 2 Larry Johnson touchdown runs. We're back to Kansas City after this word from your local station. It's cold in Kansas City, about a degree or 2 below zero. 28-10. You staying warm?
Absolutely. You know, the key really in this football game, you can look at all the stats you want, and it's Denver's defense has got to stop Kansas City's offense to get Denver's offense any chance of awakening from this stupor they're in. You know, they're moving the ball, but then they're messing up. They're just making dumb plays, and you see that run-pass ratio. It's not going to get any better. If you expect them to come out and start running the ball like they're going to run the Houston Veer or the Wishbone, I think you'd be sorely disappointed. They put themselves in a position where they're just going to have to come out and chunk it. 13 consecutive pass plays to end the first half, and that'll be more than a trend. That'll be what they have to do.
Chiefs have won 2 straight coming in, beating Tennessee on Monday night. Denver has lost 2 of their last 3. They're second place in the West and tied for 6th in the playoff picture with Baltimore in the AFC. And the kickoff to start the second half. Luke inside the 20 and fumbles the ball, and Cheek, or rather Tynes, tries to get it, and he and the ball looks like go out of bounds. It is Denver's ball. That is Lawrence Tynes, who almost was able to vacuum it in. I use the word almost.
Look on the bright side, though. You know, it's a break. It's a bone. It's not holding onto the ball properly, and it's a nice job of causing a turnover. But hey, you got to look on the sunny side. You know, you see a room full of horse manure, and get that shovel out, and you figure there's a pony in here somewhere. Well, early signs of a pony for the Broncos as they got that ball back.
The Broncos have sent wide their 2 tight ends. Carswell in motion. Drones in the backfield. 39-yard line for Plummer in play action. A block by Carswell. Time for Plummer, who niftily moves out of the pocket and then throws it away as he was chased on the sideline by Fujita. Second down and 10. And let's take a look at our fantasy notebook in the first half.
Well, if you started Green in this game, you say, hey, Trent, what's up? Well, what's up for Trent Green is Larry Johnson. A rushing game and the way it's worked. I mean, not much in the way of passing games for the Chiefs, and what the really big story has been the running game.
Second down and 10, and they dump it off to Drones, who is hit by Kawika Mitchell and clobbered by Hartz as he crosses midfield and nudges his way into Kansas City territory. 12-yard pickup and a first down.
We talked earlier about the play selection of the Denver Broncos. 15th consecutive passing plays, 13 in a row to end the first half, and now back-to-back here to open the second half. But what Mike Shanahan's football team has to do is find a spark. What are they going to do well in the passing game? Man, if you get a touchdown on this drive, it is gigantic.
First and 10, 49-yard line. There's a block by Foster, but Hicks fights through it, and does Warfield, and they bring down Drones on a 1-yard loss back into Denver territory. Randy, you can see on the field, by the way, they have completely retaken the old sod, thrown that away, and put new sod in right around the hash marks and a little bit beyond.
Well, you mentioned that block. That was an attempted block by Foster, because it wasn't much of a block.
Second down 11. And Plummer going deep and looking for Lally, and it was intercepted by McCleon, his second today, and down he is at the 10-yard line, and Jake Plummer throwing another interception, his 9th in the last 4 games. He now has more interceptions than any other quarterback in the NFL this year.
Trying to drop it over the top. Dropped it over the top to the wrong guy.
Jake Plummer has just thrown his second interception today. McCleon has just picked off his second Plummer pass. He was down at the 10. That's where the Chiefs take over, first and 10. Larry Johnson with over 100 yards in his first NFL start gets the call on first and 10 and is strung out. Gonzalez trying to throw a block, and he is tackled at about the 18-yard line by Kelly Herndon, gain of 8.
See this pad? Watch this pad grow as McCleon backs off, sees the formation, sees the play. The idea is for Lally to eat up that pad and get over the top. McCleon gave up so much ground and kept in front of Lally. Never got a chance to get over the top.
Sano Pope is on that defensive line for the Denver Broncos. No changes in their secondary as we open up the second half. 17-yard line. Second down and 3 for the Chiefs. 2 tight ends. Larry Johnson tackled by DJ Williams and pierces the first down marker. He's out to the 22, gain of 6.
That's good for a Kansas City Chiefs.
And you look at the numbers for the Denver Broncos from the first 10 games to what's happened in the last 3 games. In those games, they're 1 and 2. The turnovers coming into today in the last 3 games was 10. And obviously, we've seen these 2 big interceptions, so it's now 12 turnovers in the last 4 games.
2 tight ends again as Gonzalez leaves the backfield. First and 10 from the 23-yard line. The pitch out to Larry Johnson. Second year in the NFL. He's out of Penn State and taken down by Kenoy Kennedy and by Donnie Spragan. Gain of 4 to the 27-yard line. And let's take you to our studios in New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Kevin, keeping an eye on those San Diego Chargers. LaDainian Tomlinson showing the way in the cold and the snow. His second 1-yard touchdown plunge. The Chargers with a 21-0 lead on Cleveland coming up on 7 minutes to play in the third quarter. Kevin and Randy, back to you.
Well, Greg, do you think there are any Denver Bronco fans right now on the Cleveland bench seeing the score here in Kansas City? If Denver loses this game, San Diego wins himself a division.
Second down 5, 27-yard line. And here's Green. Good block by Rofe, holding off the pressure. Sammy Parker, second catch today. Brought down by DJ Williams. First down, 42-yard line, gain of 13.
Now here's the second part of that formula I talked about. You know, your offense not only has to wake up if you're Denver, your defense has to find out how do you deal with this Kansas City offense. And for Mike Shanahan's defense, it's been a huge problem dealing with Larry Johnson in this offensive line. And much of what he could look at defensively, problem-wise, stems from those 5 guys up front, because they've caused the protection and they've caused the holes in this Denver defense.
Johnny Morton not playing today because of an injury, so Hall starts, and Parker seeing more times than he wants to, probably, because he likes to return those kickoffs and punts. Timeout taken by Kansas City. But Hall has caught a couple passes today. Parker's caught 2, and Trent Green takes a timeout, having thrown 6 consecutive completions. Timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Circuit City. For the hottest new technology, think Circuit City. Just what I needed. Thank you from Citi, a new kind of rewards program from a card you can count on. And by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Chiefs just took a timeout. They began this drive at the 10 after McCleon picked off Plummer for a second time. 41-yard line, 1st and 10. Kennison has a touchdown reception today in motion. Larry Johnson gets away from Hayward. Then he is hit and taken down. Sprague at the 41-yard line brings him down after a gain of a yard. 130 yards on the ground. 3rd consecutive 100-yard performance by Larry Johnson.
And I'll tell you something that's different here too, Kevin, is if you look at this offense and the way it's been operating with a lead, you say, well, gee, do you change what you were doing? Do you do something different? Well, absolutely not. Why would you change what you're doing now? You're not exactly a 3-ring circus throwing the ball all over the field. You're running it effectively, and you're doing what you always have to do anyway with a lead.
2nd and 9, 42-yard line for the Chiefs, and Larry Johnson again, they blow that dead. Johnson on this drive has had runs of 6 and 8 yards. Parker's had a 13-yard reception.
False start.
Dante Hall.
Offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Who is taking the place of the injured Johnny Morton is Dante Hall.
Well, one sure sign that, Johnny Morton he has that banged up knee, but he's also a pretty smart guy. There's Johnny Morton there behind the glass with the stocking cap on and the nice diamond earring and the heating. More importantly, the heating part. Last time we were here for the San Diego game, Priest was in that seat eating nachos.
2nd and 14. The Chiefs have got to get to the Denver 49. Denver in their base defense. Chiefs have got all kinds of guys out there right now, including a couple tight ends. Back to the 37-yard line. 2nd and 14 for Green. Good block by Shields. So it's a pass completion and a 1st down to Eddie Kennison, who's at the 49, very close to a 1st down, brought down by Kenoy Kennedy. And it's going to be too close to call, but he's right on that 1st down marker.
Well, Eddie Kennison's the only receiver that actually runs up the field. Everybody else is running crossing patterns. Eddie Kennison went up in the center of the field and just sat down. Let everybody run by him. It came wide open.
They do get a 1st down to the 49-yard line of Denver. It's Larry Johnson. He's brought down by a hard-charging Kelly Herndon, gain of 2 to the 47-yard line. And Tuesday at a special time on CBS, The Amazing Race is launching teams to new heights. See ancient battle skills become key to winning the competition. Don't miss a new Amazing Race Tuesday at a special time, 8, 7 Central on America's most watched network, CBS.
What's the first thing they did? When was bungee jumping an ancient sport? Slinging. Well, they weren't jumping, they were slinging them. So I guess that was ancient.
8th play of the drive, starting back at the Kansas City 10 after the Plummer pass was picked off. 2nd down, 9. Green. And way over the head of the 5'8", Dante Hall. The coverage by Champ Bailey. 3rd and 9.
Coverage by Champ Bailey.
You look at what Larry Johnson's done over this week, and Monday through Sunday is a pretty good version of a week. And Monday night, 7 carries for 104 yards, and then follows it up today. Comes in here, and so far, 22 rushes and 131 yards and a couple touchdowns, and I hope he's not tired because they're going to keep feeding him this rock.
Nick Ferguson is an extra defensive back for the Broncos. 3rd down and 9. Chiefs have got to get to the 39. Here comes Chuck Wara. Green steps up nicely in the pocket. Wide open, Sammy Parker. He is in for the touchdown, the 1st of his career.
Tell you what, somebody call the SPCA because this offensive line for Kansas City is abusing these Broncos up front. Trent Green is getting all the time in the world. Stand back in the pocket. Willie Rofe and company is just giving him all that time, and the receivers are running free.
Lawrence Tynes will try the extra point. What a drive put together, beginning back at the 10 after McCleon picked off Plummer, so the Chiefs cash in on the turnover. Parker had a 13-yard reception. Kennison had a 14-yard reception. Then this 48-yard touchdown pass. Green to Parker. And the Chiefs rolling over the Broncos 35-10. Sammy Parker was a fourth-round pick out of Oregon and active a good part of the early portion of the year. With Johnny Morton out today because of injury, Parker's gotten a chance to play. He's got his first receptions of his career today, including a touchdown strike of 48 yards, his first, and the ensuing kickoff by Tynes. And Luke at about the 16-yard line for the Denver Broncos. There's a block by Drums, a great hit by William Bartee at the 31-yard line. 15-yard return.
All this was set up, though, by Dexter McCleon's interception. The offensive line gave Trent Green the time. And this is ugly for the Broncos.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM, the official on-demand business consultants for the NFL. And by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call.
-1 with the wind chill here in Kansas City. It's cold here in the booth, as it is for the fans here, but they had a great crowd at Arrowhead come to watch.
You complaining or what?
The Broncos and the Chiefs. No, I'm here with you. It's Christmas.
Just an observation.
31-yard line, 1st and 10 after the Kansas City touchdown pass. Plummer hit as he throws, and that is caught by Rod Smith. Coverage by Hartz. He was inbounds. 48-yard line. It is a gain of 21 yards. And Rod Smith has just grabbed his 700th career reception. He is the 20th player all time to get that in the National Football League. Our congratulations to one of the true class guys in this business.
And a pretty short list of free agents that have had 700 receptions.
That's right. And Shanahan took over. Rod Smith was discovered. 1st and 10 for Plummer. And Carswell breaks a McCleon tackle, and then Beisel brings him down. Close to a first down, almost 10 yards on the play. Let's see where they spot at 38-yard line.
And it's really up to the leaders on this football team for Denver, like Rod Smith, and go down the line on that offensive line, and Jake Plummer. And the leaders have got to stand up here. I've never seen a team, this flat in a playoff important game. And, Rod Smith comes into this game since '97 in that kind of company. And it's up to him and the other leaders in this team to take his team by the throat.
Tatum Bell is in the game. It's 2nd and a yard, and Wesley comes up in a multiple defensive back set. They got 6 back there. A 2-yard gain by Bell is to the 37. Kyle Johnson is out for the rest of the game. He had injured his leg in the first half. We didn't know if he was going to come back. They've really been passing so much. They haven't really had him in there, but now they are saying he is out for the rest of the game. A leg injury to Kyle Johnson.
Well, one of the advantages, you see Denver running a little while there, that no-huddle effect. Basically calling a couple of plays and just going to the line of scrimmage. It keeps Kansas City from substituting too much and gets the player personnel they really want on the field.
Kansas City back to a base defense. Here's Tatum Bell on 1st and 10. Breaks a tackle of Hartz, then is shot down. McCleon was there and a couple others for Kansas City on a gain of 9. There is Dexter McCleon with 2 interceptions this afternoon. Mark the ball at about the 27-yard line. Now our NFL.com poll. Who is the NFL's Coach of the Year? Cast your vote at NFL.com.
For my money, I'm going to go with Bill Cowher.
Wow.
And the job his staff has done. The heck with Ben Roethlisberger being the whole key. I think that coaching staff, and especially Bill Cowher, might be having their best season.
Number 78. 5-yard penalty.
Lepsis.
Remains 2nd down.
How typical is this of what we've seen on tape, not only today, but in the games leading up to this week? This is a Denver drive. A Denver drive is going to show you some sizzle, and they're going to show you a few flops, too, and a little, dull thuds. They're going to jump offside. They're going to make mistakes, and to see the number of yards, you should see penalty yards, because that's what they're racking up a few, too.
33-yard line, 2nd down and 6. Plummer. And deep down the middle, and dropped by Lally, coverage by Hartz and by Wesley, incomplete. 3rd and 6.
Well, Shenard Hartz got kind of lucky there at the very end of that play, coming over the top, just swatting at the ball. Watch 42 Hartz come over the top of Lally, swatting at it. That ball almost snuck through there. That was very good timing. That was just a microsecond away from being an oops.
6 in the secondary. Samples come in to be the dime back. 4 receivers, platooned by Plummer in motion. Luke, 3rd down and 6. They got to get to the 27. And dropped by Luke. May have been deflected. I couldn't tell, but it was thrown back at the receiver nonetheless. 4th and 6. They're not going to punt. They're going to go for it.
Tell you, Rod Smith was open on that last play. And he wasn't real happy that the ball didn't come his way. He's one of those competitive guys. I talked about, having the fire and being a leader and grabbing the team by the throat. He's one of those guys that will take charge, and he's the money guy. You can't ignore him. If he gets single coverage, you've got to find a way to get the ball to Rod Smith.
6 remain in the secondary. It's 4th down and 6, and the Broncos have got to get to the 27. They're at the 33. Plummer blocked by Foster. Caught by Smith. Flag is down. Tackled by Barty. The yardage good enough for a first down to the 23-yard line. It's a gain of 10 earlier on this drive. Smith had a 21-yard reception.
Smith came out of the slot, Kevin, was working against Barty, and Barty had his hands all over him.
Pass interference, offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 4th down.
How about that? Another penalty on the Denver Broncos, number 7. 7 for 70 yards.
Now here's Rod Smith right here. Watch this.
That's 5 yards, right?
Yeah. I mean, calling that a penalty is ridiculous.
4th and 16.
Denver's going to punt.
And just as many of those as have gone against the Chiefs has gone for them. Probably more have gone against them, but at that time, calling that a push-off is ludicrous.
So Denver began at their 31. They get as far as Kansas City 43 at least right now, and now they got a punt, and they've got Baker in to do that. Hall back at the 10 for Kansas City. Leach with the snap. Baker gets off a high, hanging, well-placed punt, which will be downed at the 1. Let's see what they call.
Was the contact with the line?
42-yard punt. And they mark it at the 1-yard line. What a great punt. And Leach, the long snapper, is the one to jump on it and save it from going in the end zone.
Kansas City is challenging this, saying that Mike Leach, watch him slide and somehow stop his body. They're challenging the spot of the ball, but no part of his body. Look at that. See right there? See where the turf kind of came up by the goal line from his body, pushing it over? No part of his body ever touched that goal line. That is a wonderful play and an excellent spot by the officials. They can't reverse this. That one angle showed you everything you needed to see.
Mike Leach, the longtime snapper, he's out of William and Mary, and he is a reserve tight end, but he is a very competent long snapper. And he used to be a long snapper.
He went to 2 colleges? William and Mary?
Tony Corrente trying to keep warm with his crew today here in Kansas City, where it was -1 at kickoff with the wind chill, and I am told it is dropping as we go. And the sun sets in the west. These are the replay rules. This was challenged by Kansas City.
You're going to lose the timeout, obviously. KC's got 2 right now. Broncos have 3, so Kansas City will be down to 1 timeout if this replay goes against them.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Kansas City will be charged with their first timeout.
That was a good call, the right call. Yeah. Very obvious.
That one angle we showed you was the perfect angle where you see that turf pushing up by the goal line, and no part of Leach gets near the goal line itself. Watch his body. Not a hand, not a foot, not a shoulder. I mean, his head might have been hanging over, but nothing was touching. Wasn't like scoring a touchdown.
This is the second possession for the Chiefs in the second half. The first one began at the 10 after a McLeon pick of Plummer. They went 90 yards and got a touchdown pass of 48. Now they begin at the 1 after the Denver punt. First down and 10. Larry Johnson follows Richardson and sidesteps his way into the grass with Sprague in it at about the 7. 6-yard gain, and Larry Johnson having the game of a career, 136 yards on the ground.
Tells you all you need to know right there how Kansas City's offense is doing. Bad news for Kansas City is they lost the replay. The good news is they've got Larry Johnson and this Chiefs offensive line to get out of this hole. You talk about low gear in a four-wheel drive vehicle. You can grind out of a bad spot with this group.
2nd down and 4. Johnson remains. Couple tight ends and play action by Green. Tony Richardson tackled by Rayleigh. Johnson and Spriggan up to the 19-yard line. Has a first down, gain of 11 on the play. You know, we talked about Larry Johnson all day. When Priest Holmes was injured a couple years ago at the hip, Carl Peterson made the decision, while they needed so much on defense, to draft an offense as an insurance policy in case Holmes couldn't come back. So they get Larry Johnson, first-round pick out of Penn State. Well, lo and behold, a miraculous recovery by Holmes. He plays and stars, and Johnson simmers on the bench, doesn't play at all his rookie year. Now he comes in with Holmes injured again, and he has been tearing up things for Kansas City on a 1st and 10 handoff. He is brought down by Kennedy in the backfield. A gain of 5 for Larry Johnson out of Penn State. He's up to the 23.
And you talk about Larry Johnson, and you know, he and Dick Vermeil had their differences, and Dick Vermeil pointed out to him this week where he basically said, hey, look, it wasn't that I didn't want you. I wanted a defensive player. You know, people say, why do you draft a running back? Well, this year's been a good example as why you draft a running back. And Larry says, I've learned this offense so much better. It's been hard for me to adjust to this style of blocking, this style of offense. But until you get the reps, it's hard to adjust.
23-yard line, 2nd down 5 with 2 tight ends, and play action by Green going the opposite way, and caught by Tony Gonzalez. Palpoy brings him down after a first down catch and run by the best tight end in the NFL. He's up to the 43. A 20-yard gain, and Tony Gonzalez with the 15th reception of 20 or more yards. 2nd most among tight ends. Only Algie Crumpler of Atlanta has more.
Now you see a receiver run this far on a route with a little delay. It's because he's getting good blocking from the offensive line, and he just takes that rebound away from the other guy. You know, that wasn't so much a pass, that was a rebound from an ex-small forward. He just grabbed that ball and took it away from him.
Kansas City began at their 1, now they're breathing easily at their 44, 1st and 10. Fake to Johnson. Green has got a nice tempo to his game. Gonzalez again hit by Kennedy. Banged by Bailey, close to a first down at the 46-yard line of the Denver Broncos. And are they going to give him the first down? He's so close. All time, this is where Tony Gonzalez ranks. Pretty impressive. Someday he will be in Canton, Ohio. And he is a young man. He's only been in the NFL 8 years.
989 yards on the season.
Yep.
I mean, a tight end getting 1,000 yards, if you don't know, that's very special in this league.
He'll be going for his 2nd 1,000-yard receiving season in his career. Parker is on the move, and the handoff goes to Larry Johnson on 1st and 10, and he climbs his way past Sprague and knocked a little bit off his horse right there. Hit by D.J. Williams, 39-yard line. Gain of 8. He's got 149 on the ground.
And you look at that particular running play. Now that's a running play that Larry Johnson probably saw at Penn State. That kind of a straight stretch and bang it right behind him. What takes a while for Larry Johnson to get used to is when you see all the moving linemen in this offense, you got to be a lot more patient and willing to hold back and then burst when you run.
2nd and 2 from the Denver 39. The drive began back at the 1 after a Denver punt. Larry Johnson again. And then clobbered on the play by Sprague. We've called his name a lot today. Fada Fahey, a loss of a yard, back to the 40-yard line.
Loss of a yard on the play.
Well, tonight on 60 Minutes, Ricky Williams. He was rich and young and an NFL superstar. Why would he give it up? He tells Mike Wallace why tonight on 60 Minutes on CBS.
Think he remembers what he said? Tell you what, yeah. What's that old song? Ricky, don't lose that number. I'd keep that Miami number on my speed dial on my phone. You may someday decide you want to pass a drug test.
Here's the blitz, and Green trying to beat it, and he looks for Hall, who is working on Champ Bailey one-on-one on the corner, incomplete on that 3rd and 4. Flag is down. Looks like it's on Denver. 2nd, 10 on the I got to tell you, Randy, in watching Denver today, it is hard to believe how flat they have been in such a big game.
Illegal use of the hands to the face against an eligible receiver. Defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I mean, 7 penalties for 70 yards and mistakes like that. 2 Plummer interceptions and, I mean, flat.
Well, and the funny thing is, the first finger people usually point at is the coach. And having been in these situations, I can tell you, these situations aren't coach-related. If you can't get fired up and get ready to play in these situations late in the season, going for a playoff berth, then you don't deserve to be in these situations, and you don't deserve to be on teams like this. And I think that's one of the decisions they'll have to make in Denver is who's showing up and who isn't.
2 tight ends, 35-yard line. Johnson on 1st and 10, brought down by DJ Williams, and a gain of 2. As Williams takes down Johnson. We said before Williams might be the defensive rookie of the year in the National Football League. They mark the ball at the 33.
And I've heard stuff and I've read things, you know, out of Denver about, you know, Mike Shanahan is 10 years in Denver and his message has gotten stale and yada yada. What message has gotten stale? How many messages out there come from guys that have won back-to-back Super Bowls? How does that get stale? You might get complacent, but that doesn't get stale.
2nd and 8, they got to get to the 35. 2 tight ends out there for the Chiefs. Dunn is in motion. Green facing another all-out blitz, throws to Parker, who dances on the sideline and slips, and he's out of bounds at about the 30 on a gain of 2. Flag is down again. Parker caught his first career pass in this game and his first career touchdown in this game. Last drive the Chiefs had it 48 yards through the air from Trent Green. Green, by the way, has had another sensational season, a Pro Bowler with 4,000 yards last year. He'll probably, staying healthy, will go for 4,000
falls
this
against
year.
both teams on the play. Illegal shift, offense number 18. By rule, this penalty will be disregarded. Also on the play, personal foul, roughing the passer, contact with the helmet of the quarterback, defense number 56. By rule, this penalty will be assessed 15 yards, automatic first down.
That is Al Wilson, who is called.
Here comes Al Wilson. Helmet under the chin. You know, and granted, players don't come with air brakes. And we look at things sometimes at like 3/4 speed, and it's hard to say, well, maybe you could slow down. Well, they can't slow down, but you have to know coming in, you just can't hit a quarterback high. Heck, you can't hit a quarterback semi-late, much less high.
9 penalties, Randy, is that ties a season high in the Denver Broncos.
They're not done yet.
Well, they got a long way to go in the 4th quarter. Coming up, down 35-10. We'll return to Kansas City where it's below 0 after this message and a word from your local station.
The clock's running down. The team's losing ground to the opposing defense. The young quarterback waits for the snap when suddenly it all starts to make sense. He's got all kinds of time. He's got all kinds of time. All kinds of time. He's got all kinds of time. All kinds of time.
Broncos came into today controlling their own destiny, although tied for 6th in the playoff race with Baltimore, both at 8-5 because of common opponents. Had Denver won out, gone to 11-5, they would have been in the playoffs. Now, we don't know what's going on because they trail 35-10 heading to the 4th.
You talk about happy holidays to our troops. You know, John Lynch's dad, John Lynch, owns a radio station in Southern California, taking some of the talent down to a Army base outside of Fallujah. Going to broadcast live from there. John said to be sure to say hi to my dad. And Dad, hi.
1st down and 10, first play of the 4th quarter. Green has thrown a couple of touchdown passes today. Larry Johnson has had 2 touchdown runs, and Johnson gets the call. He is chased outside by Palapoy and then run out of bounds by Monsanto Pope. And no gain on the play. Will be second down. Those are some of the scores today.
These are the teams in contention, especially that San Diego 21-0. Remember, San Diego wins this game. Denver loses this game. San Diego wins their first AFC West title, I think, since Bobby Ross and Bobby Beathard were going at it down there in San Diego.
10th play of the drive. It began back at the Kansas City 1 on a Denver punt. Gonzalez with a 20-yard reception. The big play on the drive. 10th play coming up. Second down and 10. Green. Here comes Ray Lee Johnson. There goes the pass. Caught by Kennison for a touchdown. How in the world did he snare that away? His second today, beating Champ Bailey.
Kevin, you know what that's about? That's about training camp. That's about practicing in this offense for all this time. And that's about adjusting to your quarterback. Watch Trent Green throw the ball and Eddie Kennison make it work. Was he led right? Nah. He just kind of stopped, used his body against Champ Bailey, scooched up against him, and Bailey couldn't get around him.
Great day for Kennison. 3 touchdown passes by Green, and Tynes tacks on another. Well, Denver was the team with something to play for today, but Kansas City has steamrolled them. Kennison, 2 touchdown receptions, and the Chiefs 42-10 over the Denver Broncos. How about a look at Kansas City's last 2 drives, Randy? 9 plays, 90-yard touchdown pass, 10 plays, 99-yard drive, and an 18-yard pass to Kennison.
And Eddie Kennison does just what he told us Friday. We'd love nothing more than to help Denver not go to the playoffs.
Tynes with the kickoff. Triandis Luke from the 5-yard line for the Broncos. And finds a seam and then brought down by Julian Battle at about the 35 to 30-yard return. Jake Plummer will take his team back out there. He's thrown 2 interceptions today. Green has been perfect. 3 strikes to the end zone. 2 to Kennison. 42-10 Kansas City.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Canon, the official camera, binocular, and photo printer of the NFL. Gap, how do you share it? And by the coldest tasting beer in the world, Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL and Super Bowl 39.
As we come to expect in Kansas City, the best and the loudest stadium in the National Football League. A great scene. 35-yard line. Down goes Plummer on 1st and 10. It was Lionel Dalton who got him 3rd sack today by Kansas City's defense.
Jared Allen's going to beg him for part of that sack. And this is just another case of the pocket collapsing. Look at Lionel Dalton. He goes right through an all-pro, Pro Bowl center and Tom Nalen and just swallows Jake Plummer.
2nd down and 18 for Plummer, and that is incomplete.
Didn't get any better.
Putzier was out there 3rd and 18.
You know, it's pretty cold here. You know,
oh, it's not 10.
Wind chill, 10 degrees.
It is not 10 degrees. My feet, my hands, my mouth can guarantee it's not 10.
The AccuTrack weather isn't in the stadium. I guarantee you, they're in an office building somewhere nice and warm.
28-yard line. It is 3rd down and 18. They got to get to the 45. Kansas City with 6 in the secondary. Plummer. Pocket collapsing. Here comes Fujita. Plummer's got a throw. Luke with the catch right in front of Barty. Flag is thrown.
That's going to be defensive.
He was out to
maybe
the 30,
a face mask.
Out to the 38, Randy. It was a gain of 11 on the play. They had to get 18. They had to get to the 45.
I don't know if he tackled him by the face mask, but he used an awful lot of his head to pull him down.
Triandis Luke out of Alabama.
So you can't say enough about the great job all our camera people and all our crew do in this kind of weather. I mean, amazing. The fans are jumping up and down and enjoying this weather, but our guys are really being toughing one out.
Foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 24. Grabbed the helmet opening and took the player to the ground. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And that's William Barty. It's a first down for Denver.
A helmet opening is the same as a face mask. See the helmet opening, the top of the helmet there? Didn't get the mask, got the opening of the helmet, and threw him down on the ground.
Six defensive backs remain for the Chiefs. Denver at the Kansas City 48, 1st and 10. 5 receivers out there for Jake Plummer. 30th birthday today. That's off the fingertips of Samp on a pass intended for Rod Smith. Went over 700 catches today, or hit 700 catches today with his reception earlier in the game. One of 20 to do that in the history of the National Football League. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
And you see what's happening playoff-wise. And, you know, Buffalo is having a heck of a day. Jacksonville plays at Green Bay later. Denver's getting stomped. Cincinnati's going to be gone because they're being handled right now by Buffalo.
2nd and 10 from the 48 of Kansas City. Here comes Wilkerson, and down from Browning. Wilkerson came and flushed him out of the pocket, and Browning finished him off. That's the 4th Kansas City sack today. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Kevin, many of our viewers today will see in our big doubleheader game Jacksonville at Green Bay with big playoff implications. In Green Bay, it's 12 degrees. The wind chill is 3 below. How do you think those Jacksonville players are going to feel at 63 back in Florida?
3rd and 10. Plummer is on the move, being chased. He's got to get to the 38, and he's shy of the 1st down as he runs out on his own accord. A 7-yard scramble for Jake Plummer. So now they're at the 41. They got to get to the 38, and it is 4th down. 4th and 3.
You know, for as maligned as this Chiefs defense has been all year long, this defensive line, you know, Lionel Dalton and Sims and Jared Allen and Hicks up front, they have brought some serious heat against this Denver offensive line, and Jake Plummer in particular.
Jones is in. There are 2 tight ends, and Plummer down the side and looking for Lally. Coverage on the play by McCleon. And on downs, Denver has to turn it over again.
Now, once again, who is the playoff team coming in here? Because it sure as heck can't be Denver.
Nothing like the Beach Boys when it's 10 degrees here in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. You know what, it's not a day on the beach for our camera people, but, you know,
just George Lopez.
Sometimes when the sun's shining on you, you're always at the beach.
From the 41-yard line after Denver gives it up on downs, Green 1st and 10. Throwing incomplete. Bobbled and dropped by Hall. Covered on the play by DJ Williams, the rookie linebacker. Tuesday at a special time on CBS, the Amazing Race is launching teams to new heights. See ancient battle skills become key to winning the competition. Don't miss a new Amazing Race, Tuesday at a special time, 8/7 Central, on America's most watched network, CBS.
How about those 2 possessions, Kev? Remember that 99-yarder started with Kansas City challenging the spot.
Yep. Green has thrown 3 touchdown passes today, 2nd down and 10. And there's a fumble on a hit by DJ Williams, and the Broncos are saying they've got it at the 36. And let's see, as they unravel the pile, and Kansas City retained it. They fall on the loose ball.
Well, remember, Trent Green's had sore ribs and just a basically sore back for the last month and a half of the season. What's that tell you about a guy like Trent Green? He got the ball.
He got the ball.
As hard as he got hit and blindsided, he probably figures he's got about twice as many ribs on that right side now, because once you crack him in half, you got twice as many.
Right. Oh, I see. Timeout taken by Trent. 3rd and 16 is coming up. It's been a long year for him and this team. Hard to believe that they come in 5-8 today, the way they've pounded Denver. Timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way, and by UBS. a global financial firm with the heart and soul of a two-person organization, you and us.
Chiefs have just taken a timeout, and they're now out of timeouts here in the fourth quarter with 11:42 to play with Randy Cross, Kevin Harlan, our entire frozen crew. Third and 16.
The crowd's getting awful jovial around here. They're having all kinds of fun. Those that have stayed are enjoying this.
Chiefs have got to get to the 48, and outside they go to Dante Hall, and he slips on this turf and then is brought down by Kelly Herndon at the 38-yard line, gain of 4.
And a true sign you're having a good time, you just start throwing money around. You know what? My team's doing good. I don't need this. You take it. Now here's a nice act. Here's a good deal. So this guy picks it up. Look at this. Watch this face.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
It's real.
That was a good shot by our crew.
They're throwing money in Kansas City.
So the Chiefs can't do anything with it. They began at their 41. They got it when Denver gave it up on downs, and so now they got a punt, and Steve Cheek is back to let it fly to Luke. He was back at about the 25, and the rush was on. Triandis Luke.
It wasn't much of a punt.
No, it wasn't. It's about the 34, 33-yard line. Let's see where they spot the ball.
38.
Oh, 38 was where that was hit before. That's right. It was hit on Benny Sapp, and here tonight on CBS, the Miami Dolphins' Ricky Williams. Why would he give up NFL superstardom? He tells 60 Minutes tonight. Then catch a new episode of Cold Case, followed by Gary Sinise and Hallmark Hall of Fame's Fallen Angel. Tonight on America's most watched network, CBS.
There's some fascinating stuff on the NFL Today, earlier today, of that interview with Mike Wallace and Ricky Williams. But, you know, and I'm going to watch it. But after that, I'd rather Ricky just go away. You know, go, you know, get in your yoga position and alm your tail off, but just go away.
37-yard line. 1st and 10. They dump it off, and Tatum Bell. He got a block from Nalen. He gets a block from Hamilton. He's on the fly. Carswell trying to give him a block, and he's being chased by Wesley, who pounds the ball away. It's loose in the end zone. And then out of the end zone, a touchback. What a play! What a play by Greg Wesley of the Kansas City Chiefs, who has been injured with a hamstring. What hustle.
Here's Wesley right there. Now watch the arm come around and whack that ball out. What a nice job that is. Nobody recovers the ball. It goes out of bounds, through the end zone, touchback, Kansas City ball. Just take that little clip of that play. And that is the Denver Broncos effort today in a nutshell. That is it. Just one little clip of tape would tell you exactly what kind of day this has been for Denver.
That just goes to show you that, you know, whether it's game 15 and you're out of the playoffs or game 5 and you're right in the middle of everything, that the players in the National Football League rarely will give up, especially on a 10-degree day when you're leading 42-10. That it would have been very easy to let that guy go, but not Wesley, not that defense. New quarterback is Todd Collins for the Kansas City Chiefs, the one-time heir apparent to Jim Kelly in Buffalo. He has only thrown one pass this season. He's at the 20 with the touchback, and it's 1st and 10. He played at the University of Michigan. He hands off to Larry Johnson, who is strung out, and then out of bounds. He runs out of real estate, running across the way, and a loss of 2 back to the 18-yard line. Todd Collins has thrown 22 passes in the last 6.5 seasons after Trent Green relieves the reign of quarterback today after a 3-touchdown, no interception performance. Another beauty by Trent Green. 16 of 19. Wow.
And after you have a linebacker play chiropractor on your back too, it's nice to have a backup that can come in and relieve you so you don't have to take any more adjustments.
Chris Wilson is in for the first time. He was a high draft pick out of Pitt. We'll talk about him in a second as the handoff goes to Larry Johnson. The tackle was made by Al Wilson. It's a gain of 4. Chris Wilson broke his leg in camp, was active today for the first time, and just saw his first play in the National Football League.
Well, I talk all the time about those tweeners, Kevin, and having a guy like this at tight end to complement Tony Gonzalez, from the Chiefs' standpoint, is almost like having an Antonio Gates to stand next to Tony Gonzalez in the huddle. If you've got a guy that can run and move and do the things that a Gates can, and really the coaches here think that that's the kind of talent they have in this young tight end.
22-yard line. It is 3rd down and 8. They got to get to the 30-yard line. As Collins throws his second pass of the season, which is almost picked off by Pro Bowler Champ Bailey, incomplete. 4th down, they got a punt, 3 and out for the Chiefs, who just saw a terrific defensive hustle play by Wesley knock out what appeared to be a sure touchdown by Denver out of the end zone.
Right down here. San Diego in the AFC West. They're going to win this division because of their blowout of Cleveland and the falling upon the face that Denver's done here in Kansas City.
Steve Cheek to punt. Brandis Luke is back at the 45 for the Denver Broncos, and this is a high-hanging punt, which Luke will field at the 45, and he was slowed up by Bartine, hit by Omar Easy and Fred Jones. They'll mark him just shy of the 45-yard line, a 33-yard Steve Cheek punt. December 31st, CBS Sports jumps into the bowl season when Arizona State challenges Kyle Orton and the Purdue Boilermakers in the Vitalis Sun Bowl. 2 o'clock Eastern, New York, New Year's Day on New Year's Eve Day here on the CBS. It is the 31st, isn't it? New Year's Eve Day.
That's a great game. That's been a real tradition at CBS, that game down there in beautiful El Paso.
1st and 10 at the 45. Warner has thrown a couple of interceptions today, and this is a handoff to Garrison Hurst, who is slipping by Mitchell and then brought down by both Wesley and Beisel. Tackle at the 44, gain of 11. It's a 1st down.
One of the rarest things in all of sports, a guy that wins the comeback player of the year twice. Garrison Hurst.
With the Champ Bailey and the frustration on him, 1st and 10. And that is caught at the 36-yard line by Putsier. Gain of 8 on the play. Tackle by Beisel, who started today.
One thing for Jake Plummer is his 30th birthday today. I hope his 29th was fun, and maybe his 31st would be a good time, but I know there's very little about his 30th he's going to enjoy.
Jake Plummer is now going to be 0-4 as a starter in Arrowhead Stadium with Arizona and Denver. He will have thrown 3 touchdowns and have 7 interceptions in that time. 2nd and a short 2. Oh, busted play, and Plummer goes down. Kawika Mitchell read it and brought him down. Quarterback sack. Loss of 3. Back to the 38. Kansas City's got 5 sacks on Denver. Here is something interesting. Jake Plummer has been sacked coming into today 9 times, and he's been sacked 5 times today. Almost a whole season's worth of sacks in one game.
Just, you got to say Gunther Cunningham and his whole defensive staff did a wonderful job game plan wise, getting ready for this game and getting their defense ready to execute their plan.
3rd and 4, they empty the backfield, 38 of Kansas City. Plummer had it hit, I think, as he was going through on his follow through. And the flag is down.
Flag's down, but he was trying to stop his arm.
Bring it back.
He was trying to stop his arm, and the ball just came out. It looked like.
It's on Denver.
I didn't see it glance off a lineman, did it? Because if it glances off a lineman, it's an eligible receiver.
Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
Lepsis, who, by the way, was a college tight end, so maybe there was... No, it wasn't Lepsis, was it?
Yeah, Lepsis. No. Lepsis.
No.
Lepsis, the left tackle, throws Beisel down to the ground, is what happened on the play. Lepsis is the left tackle throwing Monty Beisel down, or using his momentum to help him go to the ground.
3rd and 14, they got to get to the 34. 10 penalties, a season high in the Denver Broncos this afternoon. There's another sack, number 6. This time they have Stills and Kawika Mitchell. And it's back at the 43-yard line, 42-yard line, a loss of 9.
Boy, in my opinion, collecting a paycheck should be optional tomorrow in Denver, because you've got a lot of people that haven't exactly earned their entire paycheck today. If it's all judged on how you play on Sunday, tell you what, a lot of Mike Shanahan's football team has really played extremely poorly today.
Jimmy Wilkerson was also in on that sack for Kansas City. 3 guys plowing in on Plummer. Got a punt again. Kansas City 6 sacks today, a season high. Dante Hall retrieves the punt, 17-yard line, and finds a little running space on the side. There was a good block, and the punter brings him down. His former teammate Jason Baker with the tackle, a 26-yard Hall return, a 40-yard punt by Jason Baker. Coming up next, Byron Leftwich and the Jaguars need a win to stay in the hunt, while Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers can clinch a postseason spot with a win, or the Titans take on the Raiders. Check your local listing for the game, time, in your area. There is a Chiefs player down. 33-yard line.
Stay tuned for the second game with Jacksonville and Green Bay, because folks, if you like late season scenes, there isn't a better late season scene than Green Bay, Wisconsin this time of year. Now with Denver, New York, Denver losing, San Diego winning, New York winning. Here's what the in the hunt looks like, and in the hunt's getting awfully tight. Buffalo's up by 20 points over Cincinnati in the 4th quarter. So they're about to take a step up in the hunt. But, you know, as nice as that look and as good as those records look, you only get 6 playoff spots. And there won't be a more disappointed Denver Bronco than that guy right there, Rod Smith. He and Ashley Lee and most members of that Denver Broncos offense never really got a chance to get on track.
The Chiefs will now notch their 15th consecutive win in December at home. And they have gone 17-1 overall. Last loss here for the Chiefs in December was against the Indianapolis Colts in mid-December '96. And Benny Sapp was the player down, but he is up, running off under his own collar. And that's the X factor I talk about here. And he was heard from early on the game's opening kickoff. Dante Hall had a 97-yard kickoff return.
You know, rarely, Kevin, an opening play can sort of set to the tone to some degree, but it usually is a nice little icebreaker. That opening kickoff almost defined this game from the very beginning.
Omar Easy is the new running back in there for the Chiefs from the 33. It is 1st and 10, and Collins going deep, and it's caught by Kennison. He slips by Herndon, run out of bounds by Kenoy Kennedy at the Denver Bronco 25, a 42-yard strike. Collins to Kennison.
That gives Eddie Kennison now 101 yards receiving, 7 catches, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. What a game. Remember, this is a guy that went to Denver. Some bad blood between him and that organization in Denver. And it is just a sweet taste for Eddie Kennison to have this kind of a game and contribute to, as he said, Denver maybe not going to the playoffs.
Easy remains, and he gets the call on 1st and 10. Lynch brings him down. That's Omar Easy's first carry of the season, first carry of his career. He gains 4 yards. And he's down to the 21-yard line. We told you the tacklers, including Lynch.
It gave Seattle a loss here to move them to 7-7. You look at what's going on there. You should know Dallas is now trailing Philly 12-7, so they found a way to get ahead of Dallas. And it's not real pretty once you go below Atlanta now, is it, Kevin?
No, it is not. But that's the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle and St. Louis, neither one of them deserves to win the division. This year there should be no representative from the NFC West. They ought to give that spot away. Kind of like the Big East and the BCS.
2nd down 6 from the 21, and Collins going to the end zone for Parker, knocked away at the last second beautifully by Herndon.
Could you see that happening though? Just take away a playoff spot. You know, just say, no, sorry, you guys just aren't. All things considered, God bless you. You might have. No, not this year.
The cold has crept into your brain. I can see here. We got some bad stuff going on.
The last 2 games here for Dick Vermeil and his Kansas City Chiefs. Going to San Diego. Those Raiders. Oof. Boy, last week.
We saw them in Atlanta, I know it. 3rd and 6 for Todd Collins, taking the place of Trent Green, who had a very full afternoon. The blitz is on. The throw is incomplete. Looking for Kennison, who was covered by Rock Alexander. Collins was drilled by Lynch. 4th down. Chiefs will try for 3.
And this game has a feel of like being down to the last 25 seconds, but there's 5 minutes and 35 seconds left in the ball game. There's Denver's last 2 games, and they've got to beat Tennessee and hope Indy's clinched everything in their grasp and doesn't play half their team. Here's in week 17.
Here's Lawrence Tynes, who has hit 9 consecutive field goals and knocked his number 10, drilling it home from 39 yards away. 5.5 to play, a 2-interception afternoon for Jake Plummer. But this is a game that saw the curtain go up and the lights put on the game's opening kickoff on Dante Hall, who won the game last year with the punt return against Denver and set the tone for this year's game with this kickoff return.
We told you early, the Denver Broncos told us repeatedly we don't want to get in a shootout. And this set the tone of a shootout from the very, very beginning. Sorry, it's not going to be methodical. It's going to be hyperventilating and running for your life the whole game.
Good day for Dante Hall's 2nd kickoff return for a touchdown this season. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS, Sean McManus and Tony Petiti. Today's game produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Suzanne Smith, the senior producer of CBS Sports. And the NFL Today is Eric Mann. The director is Bob Mattina. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. The associate directors of today's game, Fred Johnson and Jonathan Siegel. There's Andy Italiano right there from Martha's Vineyard. The broadcast associate, good job by Andy Freeman. The technical manager is Doug. I've got hand warmers for you, Freedom. The technical director is Chris Romanek from Toronto. And this is his kind of weather today. And the audio supervisor, Dave Grunvig. Special thanks to statistician Pat McGrath and Gary Brown. The kickoff by Tynes, and Luke gets it and brought down by Omar Easy, but initially hit by Keelan Fox. And the return is to about the 37-yard line, a 15-yard return. And Fadafehi getting up very slowly for Denver.
Remember our keys for Denver, you're going to live by the run, you're going to score by the pass. Well, they didn't get a chance to run very much early, and they got a chance to score a lot. No rushing touchdowns, 1 passing. And look at Kansas City and the job that Kansas City defense has done. And the sacks aren't on there. 6 sacks for the Kansas City defense.
Plummer had been sacked 9 times all season. Today, sacked 6. Hand off to Drones on 1st and 10. And kicks and pokes his way up before he is met by Wesley and brought down. 14-yard gain down to the Kansas City 47. That play by Wesley, by the way, still resonates in my mind, the way he knocked it away from Tatum Bell, who was rolling in for a touchdown and then lost it at the 1. It was kicked in and out of the end zone for a touchback by the punch move by Wesley. 1st and 10. It's caught by Ashley Lilly, who's had a very quiet afternoon, and ushered out of bounds by McCleon and Hartz at the 47-yard gain.
It really, everyone looked to Jake Plummer to sort of pull out of the nosedive this offense has been in and his stats have been in, and this is his last 3 weeks. You know, it's just, wow. Very un-Jake Plummer-ish, very un-Denver Bronco-ish. And a lot of that's tied to the fact also that, you know, today, the offensive line played terrible for Denver. And the offense in general had a brain cramp.
And 2nd down 3. Look at the run by Drones, who is drilled in the secondary by Wesley. It is a 1st down. He's to the 24. And a gallop of 16 yards. So on this drive, 14-yard gain, 16-yard gain by Drones. Most of those yards in the last 2 carries. It was 27, you see. 24-yard line, 1st and 10. Plummer. Here comes Ciavi, and there goes Jones, his second drop pass today. Coverage by Kieran Fox. And a little bit slow to get up. Well, if you're Kansas City, Randy, do you stay pat and see a flourish toward the end of the season? Do you completely revamp your defense? Do you tinker on offense? I mean, if you're Dick Vermeil with the year left on your contract, how do you handle this preseason?
Well, this coming off season?
Off season, excuse me.
I think you touch nothing on your offense. You may adjust your running back position a little bit. You've got 3 pretty good running backs. You don't necessarily need that. You need to address your defense very much.
Second down 10. They dump it off to Garrison Hurst. He's got some room to roam, and he is brought down by Wesley again inside the 10 at about the 9. 14-yard gain, and a flag is down.
And this defense has played well today. But I think part of them playing well is how bad Kansas City or Denver offense played themselves, just personally.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, defense number 50. This penalty will be assessed half distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Kawika Mitchell.
You can tell the way Tony Correnti, our referees, talk.
What about us? It's hard to open your mouth.
You know, because this Kansas City defense, when you talk about the defense, they've got the staff, they've got the coordinator that can do it in a Gunther Cunningham. I'm a big fan of his style of defense.
Here's Garrison Hurst, and he'll rumble in for a touchdown on first and goal from the 4. It's a 4-yard touchdown run by Hurst, and that is the first of the season for the 33-year-old Georgia running back, and now his 12th NFL season. And that is a ticked off Gunther Cunningham, because he wanted to keep them out, but it was a pretty quick run in there for Denver as they took over at about the 4. They had basically a full house in the stadium this afternoon. I mean, it was there were not many empty seats, which was pretty surprising, because with Vermeil's team, for all intents and purposes, out of the playoff race, in a day that began with -1 at kickoff, the wind chill, it says a lot about the fans out here. As you can see, that scoring drive capped by Garrison Hurst in a 4-yard touchdown run, and we're down to 4:13 to play in the game.
That drive is what you call too little, too late.
Well, next, Jacksonville will take on Green Bay. We know in Green Bay it is in the single digits game time, and you know, up further north you get the darker it gets.
Sun's down. Oh, the sun's down. It's basically a night game right now.
What time is it now? It's a little after 3 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone. Up there, the sun is setting in Green Bay.
But don't worry, folks. If you watch, there'll be plenty of idiots without shirts on. There'll be plenty of folks out there without.
Is that a muck? What is that? Is that a muckluck? Is that what they call those?
It looks warm, whatever the heck it is.
I wish we had a couple of those up here.
In Green Bay, obviously, they can get that win against Jacksonville tonight. They'll clinch themselves a playoff spot. There you go. Tell you what, Scooter, I hope the guys at work can see you now, because when you show up with pneumonia 2 days from now, you don't know why. Look at that. They got the right idea there.
Blankets and hoods.
That's the value of age and experience. Youth and beer, age and experience.
All right, Elam is going to try the onside kick here. And gets it out of bounds, and it's caught by Eddie Kennison, the ex-Bronco. Now he's going to have some room to float up here, and he gets by Rock Alexander, who then spins himself around and gets back in a tackling position and brings down Kennison at the 12-yard line. That is a 31-yard return with the Alexander tackle. Eddie Kennison has had some kind of day with 2 touchdown receptions and over 100 yards receiving.
Just a smart play. This game's balls put up in the air by Elam. Eddie Kennison says, the heck with the guys covering. I've got it first. There's a guy that has really worked his tail off. And, you know, normal situations, you'd say this is just take a knee. But I'm not sure with 4 minutes to go. You know, you've only got so many backup players in the NFL. You've only got a couple of backups in there, period. I think this is just still run your offense, run the ball, and check their water.
First down and 10 from the 11. Omar Easy with a carry following Richardson block. And he's brought down by Kenoy Kennedy and headed off with the pass by Al Wilson. It's a loss of a yard on the play. Kansas City is out of timeouts. Denver has 3 with under 4 to play in the game. Larry Johnson with a terrific day in his first start in the NFL.
And for those of you that might be tuning in here late to see the beginning of maybe the Green Bay game or something, but 8-5 Denver playing 5-8 Kansas City. But today the playoff-worthy looking team was definitely the Kansas City Chiefs with Larry Johnson in a defense that has multiple sacks of Jake Plummer.
2nd and 11 at the 12. This is Omar Easy again, and DJ Williams slows him up, and then he is hit by Palapoy and Lynch. Gain of a yard to about the 11-yard line. You asked Dick Vermeil about his future. We've tried to wrap up this Kansas City team, and this will be their 3rd consecutive win, and a nice little flourish for the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Dick Vermeil.
I tell you, I don't think there's a guy. I know there isn't another guy in sports, but I'm not knowing if there's another person, a leader in business, that genuinely loves and cares the people he works with more than Dick Vermeil. I mean, he legitimately loves and cares for the guys he works with. It's amazing. Sometimes, too much, because he falls in love with players he may want to get rid of them. But
3rd and 10. Collins hit by DJ Williams at about the 8. Gain of 4. And now it is 4th down. And the offense looks like it's going to stay on the field. And they'll take it, I'm guessing, down to the 2-minute warning. They can definitely do that. There's about a 6-second difference between the play clock and the game clock. Trent Green had 3 touchdown passes today. Jake Plummer had 2 interceptions. And the Chiefs, with Larry Johnson's 2 rushing touchdowns, leading 45-17. Great day for the Kansas City Chiefs and a horrible day for the Denver Broncos.
3 turnovers, a season high 10 penalties, 5 drop passes, and you allowed 45 points. These guys ought to have to walk home.
There's a 4th and 6 from the 8. Omar Easy. A Richardson block, and he runs into his own blocker. Then he is belted by Palapoy. And on downs, Kansas City will give it over to the Denver Broncos. I don't even know if there was a real turning point. The game began with such a bang with the 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Dante Hall. But for Denver, I mean, this is horrible.
But they better get over it quick.
Yep.
Because they got 2 games left. They still have a chance of being 10-6. Next week they're at Tennessee. The week after that they host Indianapolis. You've still got a chance to be a playoff team. Don't give too many other people too much credit. Who's to say that some of these teams you're in the hunt with aren't going to lay eggs like this in the next 2 weeks?
Hand off to Garrison Hurst, who has a touchdown run today, and Ryan Sims will engulf him at the 14 after a gain of 3. All of you will go to, or most of you will go see Green Bay and Jacksonville. Green Bay wins, they clinch a playoff slot.
Yeah, it's a funny situation with that bad weather up there. Real cold, snow, wind. But Jacksonville's got such a good defense, especially against the run. Brett Favre and the Packers are going to have to pass to move the ball against them. And how Leftwich and that football team deals with those conditions, that'll be a first for a lot of them.
2nd down and 7 at the 14-yard line, and Garrison Hurst hit by Wesley, who did not start today, has battled a hamstring, came in on nickel and dime situations, and came up with one of the more exhilarating hustle plays we've seen all afternoon. Chasing Tatum Bell inside the 5, punching the ball through what looked like a touchdown, and went in and out of the end zone for a touchdown.
Kevin, we talked about Dick Vermeil and how much he loves his players, and I don't see that as being a fault, but let's be honest, this is an audition for these guys. They're not going to the playoffs, and if you're a defensive player for the Kansas City Chiefs, you are auditioning for the ability to come back here next year. And a play like that says, I want to come back.
1st and 10, Jared Allen grabs Garrison Hurst for a gain of 2, after a gain of 2. And that'll take us to the end of the game. So Denver loses, and they've now lost 3 of their last 4. Plummer in the last handful of games, 1 touchdown pass and 8 interceptions. Kansas City got 2 interceptions by McCleon, 2 Larry Johnson touchdown runs, and Trent Green 3 touchdown passes. 45-17 Kansas City over Denver. I'm Kevin Harlan saying so long from Kansas City. Along for Randy Cross. Coming up next, game 2 of our doubleheader, Jacksonville at Green Bay or Tennessee at Oakland. You've been watching the National Football League on CBS as the Chiefs win their 3rd consecutive game.
It's Christmas week on NFL Prime Time. The Eagles, home for the holidays, and looking to stay there. But T.O. takes a tumble. All of Philadelphia holds their collective breath. The frozen tundra holds the Packers' playoff faith. And why it's not too late even if you're 5-8 in the NFC. In the AFC, another story. San Diego charges into Cleveland with the division title buried somewhere in all that snow. The Bills find all sorts of ways to score in Cincy. The Jets look for a couple of early gifts to clinch a playoff spot, while the Broncos D played Santa in Kansas City. Let the football begin on NFL Prime Time. NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody, along with Tom Jackson. Welcome to Week 15 Sunday edition of NFL Primetime. I'm glad you could stop on your holiday cheer and join us. Happy holidays from everybody here to everybody out.
Happy holidays.
It would be a happy holiday season. And the NFC, I think, is happy holidays for everybody.
Yeah, this doesn't get clearer as we get. Maybe a little bit. I can hardly tell. You have to explain it to me.
It's pretty clear that it's funny. And you know what? Where it's really interesting is in the NFC Norris division, where we're going to start with Minnesota and Mike Tice and the Vikings on the road. Now, first of all, Dante Culpepper's played great, but they've been 2-5 after a big start. And now, in Detroit, though, Dante Culpepper, talk about a big start. 82 yards early second quarter. Randy Moss, 14-3. Minnesota on the road in December.
Yeah, watch Moss run the route. It's a cornerback, 2 linebackers, a safety, and a partridge in a pear tree, and he beats them all for 82 yards.
Was that a trapezoid?
Yes, I have to go back to school for that, but trapezoid's good.
Now, Joey Harrington questioned if he would start because he's playing with the flu, and what he turned in was one of his best games as a pro. Harrington, Roy Williams, boy, is this rookie impressed despite the injuries. 24 yards, he injures his hip, goes to the locker room, gets extra padding. Williams would return. Later on the drive, Harrington to the other high-pick skill player, and that's the running back Kevin Jones. And what a run for 16 yards, the Lions in the game, 14-10. Field goal makes it 14-13, fourth quarter now, 3rd and 5. Culpepper, Nate Burleson, and look at the play he makes. Now, Tom, they say the plane is infinity. His feet never go out.
His feet never went out, and I guess the plane goes right out of the end zone and right across the earth.
It goes right across to Canada, to Windsor, I guess. Anyway, Harrington to then he pitches it back to Sean Bryson. Tricky Lions, big play. Here's Detroit down 8 minutes ago with a 62-yard pickup. 3rd and 5 from the 9. Harrington. Roy Williams, that's a pretty play, touchdown. And so now down 21-19, they go for 2. Harrington, big rush, ties streets, and there's a flag on Terrence Shaw. And so they get a second chance. They go for 2 from the 1 now. What a play by Harrington right here.
Yeah, Harrington under pressure, making that throw. Got a receiver making a catch for him. What a great play.
Now, Minnesota in a tie game. Michael Bennett, they're going to win on a field goal. No, it's a fumble. The Vikings do it, but they fall on the ball. And the next play, Mo Williams. Mo with a touchdown, 11 yards, and a big run for the Vikings lead.
Yeah, look at him barrel over the Lions. He wanted that score. He knew his team needed it. He went and got it for him.
So 28-21, a minute and a half to go. Detroit in business. 2nd and 10 now. They're at the 38-yard line. Bullet Hakeem to the 15. They're doing this with no timeouts. Harrington under control. He spikes it. Then, second down to Roy Williams. And the flag. And boy, Minnesota felt that he wouldn't be able to catch it. It's touch and go, but Detroit gets the call.
Yeah, and we take a look at the contact right there on the sideline. The ref had the flag at the ready. He knew he might see it. He threw it right at the goal line.
So first and goal, Harrington to Roy Williams. Touchdown with 8 seconds to go. Mike Tice cannot believe that the Lions are on the verge of tying the game.
Yeah, they left Williams in single coverage. He's going to make that catch. He's too big and athletic.
28-20. Oh, no. Oh, no. You're kidding me. Hansen never gets to kick it because rookie Don Molback, to the chagrin of Steve Mariucci, the snap is in the dirt, if you want to call it dirt, and it can't be handled by Nick Harris, and they never even get a chance to tie the game. Here's some coaching right there. Here's Steve Mariucci to both fullback
I love that.
and Williams. And because this young Lion team has showed something, but in the end, the Minnesota Vikings, who after a 5-1 start have been sputtering, to say it kindly, but they go on the road in the division and win it 28-27. Culpepper, 404 yards with 3 touchdowns. So, look, the Vikings, a team in dire need of a break, got the ultimate break at the end of the game, and they turned it into
They got the break at the end of the game, but you have to win up to that point to win the game. And I think when you look at what this team has gone through, losing 5 out of 7 games, the proposed slide that they're going through at the end of the year, the problems that they've had with the absence of Randy Moss from time to time during the course of the season, I think the one constant has been Dante Culpepper. And minus a Peyton Manning, minus a Donovan McNabb, maybe a T.O., and maybe you group all those other guys in the same basket. This guy is an MVP candidate, the undisputed leader of his football team, and he has carried this football team, 3 touchdowns today, but there's been other weeks, 5, 4. He has done a magnificent job. Wasn't for Peyton Manning, I think that this guy would be the MVP.
And with pressure, because, they're not light. This is not the 85 Bears on defense.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right. Got their problems on the defensive side of the ball.
But big picture now, Minnesota on Christmas Eve hosts the Green Bay Packers, and that's going to turn out to be first place in the division. And the Vikes, they can control their own fate. Right. After all of this, when we return, we control our own fate. The Willis McGahee and the streaking Bills. The Bills were the scare, although what they did to the Bengals was scary. Buffalo circling more than one wagon, and Terrell Owens, we'll update you on this. He had to leave the game, ankle injury, so stay tuned. And now we go outside where the weather a factor today. Big time wind chill down in the low single digits for Buffalo at the Cincinnati Bengals. And very early, the tricky Bills, Bledsoe, McGahee, flea flicker, Lee Evans. He looks like a touchdown, but he ruled outside at the 5-yard line. And so Bledsoe says, okay, let me go to the rookie and let him get the touchdown after all. Game is tied at 7, late first quarter. Now, the Bills scored on offense. Now, Bills special teams. Boom! Jason Peters with the block, the recovery, and the touchdown.
It's a triple play. It's a triple play for any lineman.
The Bills special teams, maligned a few years ago, now may be the best in the game. John Kitna starting for the injured Carson Palmer, picked off by the Bengal for 7 years. Takeo Spikes, Kurt, go all the way. So now we got offense. We got special teams and defense scoring.
Yeah, and watch how Spikes created this play. He's covering Rudy Johnson. He knocks Rudy down as the ball is coming, and he is off to the races. Former Bengal, this must feel pretty good for Takeo.
Absolutely. Last week, Corey Dillon. This week, Takeo Spikes. Now, late second quarter, scary moment for the Bills. You caught a glimpse of it a moment ago. Swing pass to Willis McGahee, and he just turns right there. Now, that is the repaired knee. Twisted left knee. He did come back later, but then was kept out of the rest of the game as a precaution. So hopefully, anything McGahee knee, you're figuring, but preliminary reports, not so bad. Meanwhile, the Bills were pretty darn good. 27-10 third quarter. Even when Cincinnati had Rudy Johnson going, Nate Clements strips it. Guess who's there?
Takeo Spikes.
Takeo Spikes. And the Buffalo Bills, who scored 37 or more in their previous 4 games, all win. Now 33-17. The Bills were 0-4. They're now 8-6. And a rough game for Kit. 2 picks, the fumble, the 3 sacks, and for Cincinnati, 14 straight years now this assures that they will be without a winning season. Tying for the second longest streak ever. Only the Saints, the first 20 years of their existence, longer. Inside the numbers, Buffalo. This is what they've done in just the 5 games that they've won. 2 defensive touchdowns, 3 special team touchdowns, and as good as that K-gun offense, Jim Kelly and the guys, 187 points in a 5-game span. It's the most they have ever had. Should I say it? Can I say it?
Yes, do.
No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills in December right now. Wow.
And they're circling the wagons in a lot of different ways, and I think that's what those numbers tend to indicate. And you saw a great example of it today. This is a team on the move. They do a lot of things offensively, defensively, and in the special teams area that make them successful. Drew Bledsoe getting very comfortable now with the complement of a good running game. He gets the time to sit back, scan the field, and throw the football. That touchdown to Lee Evans. Here, Jason Peters coming on the punt rush. They take pride in rushing the punt. He actually only gets within 4 yards of the punter, is able to get a hand up in exactly the right spot for the triple play. He recovered that for a touchdown. And then to Keo Spike, you saw it in the highlight package. Great job, great hands, great athleticism. And that's what I think this team really has. A group of outstanding athletes. They're starting to play for each other and play together. And I think when you have that, you're going to be successful ultimately. And I think this team, one of those teams that next year, we're going to be talking about this team and where they're going in the playoffs, not whether they're going to get there.
Now, they have a shot even in the AFC. That's right. Completely different than the NFC. They're at San Francisco in the one-time Schwam Bowl, although San Francisco is not quite what they were. That's to make the understatement. And then Buffalo hosts Pittsburgh.
That's going to be a heck of a game.
It's going to be a very, very good game, and maybe with playoff implications for the Bills as well as for the Steelers. Meanwhile, game without playoff implications in Chicago. Texans at the Bears, and again, this is wind chill in the -4, -5. But here's Houston. You got to love the way they play. David Carr to Corey Bradford, 37-yard touchdown, 7-0 Houston at the half. The score 10-5, bottom of the 8th. Houston's going to the bullpen, and Carr to Bradford this time for a first down. Then they do some hitting. That's Bagwell. No, I mean Dominic Davis, 11-yard touchdown, 17-5 Texans. And then Dr. Robinson, corner blitz, nails Chad Hutchinson. Charlie Anderson does the rest. Robinson also had a pick today. That makes 6 for their #1 draft pick.
Going to be some Pro Bowl consideration for him.
And Lovie Smith sees his team. Remember 2 games ago, Chad Hutchinson, hey, we got to... No, they don't. Because they now have gone 2 straight games without scoring an offensive touchdown. And meanwhile, the wind chill, as I said, got to -10. And even on the undercard,
that's right.
Even on the games, quote, no one cares about, AFC over NFC. And Houston over the Bears with a thump.
Yeah, and another team that's growing in leaps and bounds. We know this is a very well-coached football team, and I'm watching David Carr and watch him mature into an awfully good quarterback in this league.
And so Carr maturing. Meanwhile, when we return, more maturing. Well, Brett Favre is plenty mature, and they're at home in the frigid temperatures against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the Jags, AFC versus NFC, a recurring theme. Meanwhile, AFC versus NFC, Chad Pennington and the looking like playoff-bound Jets against the Seahawks, who could be playoff-bound. Marquee, one of the marquee games today, 2 teams with winning records. That would be Seattle, leaders of the humorous NFC West, at the New York Jets, who, as well as they've been playing, still looking uphill at the New England Patriots. Here we go, somewhere in the swamps of Jersey. And for a showdown, it didn't turn out to be much of one. Herman Edwards and the Jets concerned, maybe. Chad Pennington hadn't thrown well. Meanwhile, no concern with Jerry Rice. Watch the one-handed grab like Saladay's, his 208th touchdown in his career. Hasselbeck hits him 7-3. The Seahawks, but Curtis, my favorite Martin touchdown. You got to love Jet fans. His and her helmets, beers, whole. I mean, that's just great. Mr. and Mrs. Seth Markman. Meanwhile, Hasselbeck picked off by Eric Bart. The linebacker had a huge game for the Jets. And with the score 17-7, that sets up Chad Pennington. Hey, there's a throw to Santana Moss. 32 yards. 24-7, Jets, Jet. 7 seconds left in the half. No timeout, Seattle. This seemingly, Hasselbeck, Jeremy Stevens, seemingly got Seattle back in the game, 24-14. Now, tricky Jets. Chad Pennington is right there. As a receiver, it's like the single wing. It's Lamont Jordan takes the snap, and Jordan ran well today, along with Martin, 33 yards. Paul Hackett, all of a sudden,
very creative today in what he did for this offense.
Pennington to Moss, 7 yards. They missed the extra point. It's 30-14. Second and goal, Seattle from the 1. Hasselbeck almost in. Now, why is it always this goal? I remember the Vinny play 4, 5, 6 years ago. Sean Alexander, third down. Not in. Now, 4th and goal from the 1. These are the Seahawks. Touch. No, fumble. Sean Ellis on it for the Jets. Touchback. Sean Alexander fumbles at the 1 line as Seattle was trying to make a game of it. Now, Lamont Jordan, he fumbles. Ken Hamlin. Maybe not. There's still a game. And the Seahawks have pulled to within 9 as Hamlin goes all the way. The officials say he goes all the way, but Herm knows. Hey, you see that? They ruled forward progress.
Yeah, his forward progress had been stopped. Not necessarily that the ball wasn't coming out. Technically, whistle blown, play dead.
Mike Holmgren furious. We didn't show it to you earlier. Curtis Martin had a touchdown that was reviewed that looked shaky, but he got in anyway then. Speaking of shaky, Hasselbeck fumbles. Sean Ellis hit. Steve Hutchinson gets it, but no, out of his hands into Eric Barton. And so, we told you Barton had a huge game. Look, Robbie Tobeck knocks the ball out of Hutchinson's hand.
Yeah, sometimes things just aren't going your way, and you can tell when your own guy forces you to fumble after you've recovered a fumble for your own team.
And then Pennington, third TD pass of the game to Justin McCairns. The Jets win going away to the Seattle Seahawks, 37-14. Curtis Martin, 134 yards rushing. Jordan had 84, so he added up the Jets 41 carries for 229. Oh, by the way, Martin sets a Jet record, 53 rushing touchdowns. One of my favorite players breaks the old mark set by Emerson Boozer. Now, in this game, Tommy, look, the Jets, this is a big game for the Jets, not only because they thumped the Seattle team, but after Pittsburgh and after Pennington, they concocted plays that they kind of played within what he could do, and they played it to the team.
I think that the offensive coordinator, Paul Hackett, knew that he didn't have a quarterback that was at 100%, so he created some plays where he could use the intermediate to short routes to get him some confidence. He did let him throw downfield, but he made sure guys were going to be open downfield. He got the 100-plus yard, 120-plus yards from Curtis Martin, the contribution from Lamont Jordan. So this is what the Jets do. They don't get penalized. They don't turn the ball over. You had no interception today from Chad Pennington, and this is how they win football games. And even though those teams that have beat them, I think they're awfully good teams that they've lost to, they have been very, very close, and they could get better between now and the playoffs and the start of the playoffs.
And this is one of those wins. I know the Jets beat San Diego earlier before San Diego was established. This is one of those wins for the Jets, and Herm called his team out this week. I know that, and really jumped on them and say, big games are veteran players. Let's go. And boy, did they come up big. Meanwhile, Seattle, I mean, they just laid an egg, but as you're about to see, Seattle in the NFC West, still sitting pretty because, here we go, because the Rams are one game behind him, and now knowing that Mike Martz's club does, that the Seahawks have lost, they can tie Seattle for first if they win at lowly Arizona. But Chris Chandler, picking up where he left off last week, had 6 picks. David Macklin picks him off. Then Chandler sacked by Ronaldo Hill, and Chandler 1 for 6, 1 yard, 1 pick, sit down. Jamie Martin comes in the second quarter, and it's 17-0. Oh, it's broken up by Hill. Then it's 17-7. Josh Tears of McCown to the rookie Larry Fitzgerald. What a grab. Touchdown. 24-7. Cardinals. Then Martin, Torrey Holt, and this sums up the Rams. Fumble at the 1. You have the Alexander fumble. You have the Holt fumble. No, it's not a touchdown. It's a touchback. And in the end, Russell Davis, Tommy Polley, not having a cracker. Words on the sideline. Polley punches Davis in the face. The Cardinals.
Wear your helmet when you're doing that.
The Arizona Cardinals win it 31-7. Arizona, let me just sum this up for you. Arizona at 5-9 can still win the division. They're at Seattle next week. They could win the division at 7-9. And if they did that, they would lost twice to the 49ers. The only 2 games are 9-1. You get in the picture here.
And inexplicable how the Rams could play like that, already having known that the Seahawks in your division have lost that game.
Well, the Rams, whoa. Going south, and the Rams play Philadelphia. They play not in good shape. Meanwhile, winning the division, certainly snow would slow the club from Southern California, and Philadelphia trying for a home field advantage throughout, at home against Dallas, a team they had thumped earlier. Well, if you watch Countdown, we teed you off that the Titans and the Raiders might be the most humorous game of the day, and if you like scoring, it was great. Billy Bullock, Drew Bennett, you saw him on Monday night, touchdown, 7 all early, that's 18 yards. 14-7, but Bullock to Bennett. Man, what a catch. 8 TD catches, Bennett, 3 games, 14 all. Third quarter, they really got, no, that's actually late second quarter. Kerry Collins, Jerry Porter, 21-14. Then late in the third quarter, Raiders lead 28-21. Collins, Porter, touchdown, 3 for him. Collins, 5 on the day, 35-21. Bullock, Derek Mason, touchdown. Bullock had 4 touchdown passes, 35-28. 17 seconds left, 38-35 Raiders. Bullock goes in the end zone and intentionally grounds the ball for a safety. So Bullock finishes 492 yards, 40 of 60. Win 4 touchdowns, 9-18 the last 2 games. They lost them both. As Kerry Collins has 5 touchdown passes, throwing for 371. You want scoring? You had it there. That's for sure. Meanwhile, let's settle it down now. Actually, a team that scored quite a lot. The Philadelphia Eagles, after their lone loss this year to the Pittsburgh Steelers, had won their last 5 games to the tune of 168-64. They started that outburst on Monday night against Dallas, you might remember. And now Philly at home in our prime cut with a chance to sew up home field advantage. Then you figure they'd have their way with Dallas. But that's why they play the games. Andy Reid and his squad looking to secure the home field. Terrell Owens, well, I didn't catch one last week. If he catches a touchdown, it's 15, and he'd make the coach wear tights as a preseason deal. Meanwhile, Donovan McNabb to Brian Westbrook inside the 5. McNabb, play fake, and how about this? Chad Lewis out of the witness protection program. Touchdown, they missed the extra point. 30 TD passes McNabb this year. But here comes Dallas's defense. That's Greg Ellis, recovered by Eric Obagwu. Turnover McNabb. Ensuing drive, second and goal, Benny Testaverde. Keyshawn, touchdown. 7-6, so the Cowboys have the lead. Third quarter, same score. McNabb to Terrell Owens. And Roy Williams is going to make the hit. And Owens is going to limp off the field. First, take a look at the hit.
Yeah, you take another look at it. You're just going to see the T.O. gets pulled down awkwardly and gets bent literally over that right leg, gets tucked up under him, and that's a horrible sight. That's a horrible sight.
And he was carried off, sprained right ankle. We'll update it for you at the end of the highlight here. It's better than it looked. Meanwhile, McNabb, now all of a sudden, these Eagles on offense, hey, already Dallas had taken them out of their game. That's Terrence Newman with a pick. They look kind of like they have at times the last couple years, right? At times bogged down. McNabb to Todd Pinkston. He doesn't get it.
Well, you just look at a couple of things here. We're gonna see Donovan McNabb. You see Pinkston here. Look inside instead of looking at the ball that's coming toward him. He's looking to see where Roy Williams is coming from. He's an intimidator, but you can't be intimidated. Then you watch passes like this, just guys not getting the separation, not getting open, not giving McNabb the space to throw the football. And look at the time he has here. Eventually, he's forced to throw this ball away and is called for intentional grounding.
And Bill Parcells helps with the call. So here we are late in the fourth. It's a 7-6 game, under 5 minutes to go. At the midfield stripe is Philadelphia, and this is what Donovan McNabb can do. When all else fails, just keep it. Nobody there, gone. And McNabb makes a nice move there at the 47, 12-yard pickup, first down.
You had the feeling that he trusted himself more than he trusted anybody else on the field.
Well, again, Tom, he's buying time. Whoa! And now he splits 3 Cowboys, and that's an 18-yard pickup, first down. 2-minute warning, and Dorsey Levens, the old Packer, touchdown. They go for 2, don't get it, 12-7. Dallas, what can they do? Vinny Testaverde, Lido, oh, one more for the road. He balls Skaggs it. Lido Shepherd with the Silk Degrees interception, and the Eagles, not pretty, but the last time I checked, when you're 13-1, they don't necessarily award all style points. They clinch home field throughout the playoffs. However, the issue, Terrell Owens, playing without him for let's see how long. After the game, Donovan McNabb without his big wideout.
I think, for all of us, it's kind of a wake-up call, obviously. It's when a man goes down, someone else has to step up. And Freddie and also Greg Lewis came in, and we were able to just spread the ball around, just continue to do what we've been doing. One thing we have to understand, obviously, is we've been in 3 NFC championships, without T.O. So the guys just have to understand that, their number's going to be called, and when the number's called, we just have to be able to execute.
Well, sprained right ankle, Tom. X-rays negative, although an MRI tomorrow, Monday. According to Andy Reid, they said the good news is it's not broken. The bad news is it did swell, and it's certainly probably doubtful at best for the Monday night game against the St. Louis Rams in their final game against Cincinnati. We probably won't see him till the Eagles open up the playoffs on the 15th or the 16th in the division.
I think that's more good news for the Eagles. You've clinched home field advantage in the NFC. You now have literally 4 weeks before you're going to have to play a football game, a meaningful football game, and I think you only have to get T.O. a little bit of work. The downside is that we don't know exactly what the injury is and won't until we see the MRI or the results of tomorrow, and we can see clearly that they are a different football team when he's not in that lineup. They need him to play, and it was an awful sight to see T.O. go down like that. I hope that it's something that will allow him to heal and be able to play in the playoffs. He needs to be out there. I think all football fans want to see T.O. in the playoffs and see him help the Philadelphia Eagles make this run.
Well, and the beginning news is that he will be there. I mean,
McNabb threw those 2 interceptions after T.O. was out of the lineup. It's just an indicator.
We've seen that before, but at 13-1.
Oh, 13-1. You don't have to apologize.
Philadelphia Eagles home to the playoffs. They've done that before when we return. And I'll tell you what, the Kansas City Chiefs looking very much like a playoff team as of late, to the chagrin of the Denver Broncos, who went into KC. Meanwhile, San Diego, while Denver struggles in the snow, San Diego, could they wrap up the AFC West and complete a storybook season? Peyton Manning is tonight the night. He's got 46 TD passes. Dan Marino, the record 48. Colts at home against the Ravens, bottom of the hour.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
And now we go to the AFC West, where Denver was in Kansas City. And at Arrowhead, they've seen this before. Dante Hall, opening kickoff, bounces to the hash mark. What? Gets by a Bronco, and guess what? He could go all the way. 9 in his career, 97 yards, 7 of the Chiefs.
The same sideline as last year, only was a punt return.
Yep. And now Larry Johnson, Grandmama, his first start, 5-yard touchdown. I would say diapers off.
Yes.
14-0 Chiefs, Tom. And then Jake Plummer. We talked about him this morning on Countdown. More struggle.
We talked about the picks. He started today with 17. Here he throws number 18 to Dexter McCleon. You see how much that ball was underthrown. And then trouble with the handoff, and, Tatum Bell suffers the consequences. And then Jake Plummer trying to make something happen by using his legs, and he gets tracked by the Chiefs defense.
By the way, it was his 30th birthday. Not a happy birthday. 2 more picks gives him a league-leading 19. Meanwhile, blocking the Chiefs line as good as there isn't. You think they had a hole there for Larry Johnson? Where's the defense? 28-7. Trent Green hits Sammy Parker. Where's the pass coverage? 35-10. Green 16 of 19. 3 touchdown passes. And then here's a play that sums up the Broncos. Tatum Bell on the screen. Thinking touchdown for the rookie. But Greg Wesley makes a superb play and punches the ball out. So like the Seattle play, like the St. Louis play, this play sums up Denver. 3 playoff teams nowhere near what they were a year ago. Tom, 45-17. Kansas City spanks Denver. Kansas City's been rolling. Denver's lost 3 of 4 in December since they started going there in 1963. In December, Denver, Kansas City, 1-14.
Denver Broncos did not play well, and you give the Chiefs credit for staying and hanging in. We talk about having the integrity to play at this time of year. The Chiefs showed that today.
And they had 6 sacks. There were 10 penalties against Denver. Meanwhile, the San Diego Chargers. Okay, it's snowing in Cleveland. They expected up to a foot. And so how could San Diego, withstand this? Those guys are certainly fortified. And in the first quarter, Sherrod Coach roughs the young punter Mike Cyphers. And in the scoreless game, Coach undercuts Cyphers. Although we should change his name in this note, not Coach to Parka, Ski Parka.
Winter Coach.
Winter Coach. Well, that was Ben. First down Chargers. But they do have this. Oh, bad weather? How about LaDainian Tomlinson? Right up the gut for a 20-yard game. And then Tomlinson is going to charge toward the record books with 11 straight games with a touchdown. The record is 13. John Riggins, George Rogers with 2 games to go. He can tie the record. Speaking of records, Drew Brees, he played at Purdue. He knows cold. Antonio Gates, wide open, 72 yards. This tight end has caught his 12th touchdown of the year, tying a mark held for tight ends. Jackie Smith, Todd Christensen, Wesley Walls, and our own Mike Ditka. Wide open.
Well, you just look at Antonio Gates. He knows how to get open. Cold. And these guys got a lot smarter as the game went on.
Now, Terry Robisky says, well, let's try it. The interim coach of the Browns. And Hanik Milligan bobbles, recovers. Chargers ball. Robisky, you got to try something.
That's right.
Meanwhile, 3rd and goal, guess who's getting it? LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. Instead of a ski hat, you got the Browns fan. They love their football. They're out there in this weather. And the San Diego Chargers of Marty Schottenheimer have won the AFC West. The Chargers have won 8 in a row. They're 11-3. A team that won only 4 games last year, had the first-round draft pick. They are rolling to the playoffs.
We weren't expected to do much this year. Instead of 11-3, I think a lot of the people thought we'd be 3-11 at this time. But here we are, and I think we're right on track to where we want to go, and we put ourselves in a position to, and given ourselves a great opportunity. But we still have not met our expectations, and a lot of people think that might sound crazy, but we haven't. We still understand we have a long way to go, but this is definitely the first stepping stone, winning the AFC West.
Well, all the divisions are done in the AFC. The records, of course, are not. But the Steelers, the Patriots, the Chargers, and the Colts are division winners. The Jets, with a big win, have a real stranglehold on one wild card spot. Ravens, Jags, Broncos, Bills. There's a lot going on here now. The Jags have beaten both Denver and Buffalo. Just pocket that. But look, let's quickly go AFC West. What Denver's not doing in San Diego, look, first playoff berth in 9 years. First division in 10 years. San Diego, first shutout in 11. Is there anybody done a better job than Marty Schottenheimer?
No, absolutely nobody. And I think he's the coach of the year. This comes totally unexpected. We thought these other teams would be pretty good. This team, I think, came out of nowhere. And I think that this game plan, as you watch it today, this is a portable game plan. Mm-hmm. This is Tomlinson with that ability to establish the run. You've got a quarterback, as you mentioned, in Drew Brees, who's used to throwing in the cold. So I wouldn't expect that this team will be afraid to go anywhere and play football.
Yeah, they're going to surprise a lot on defense that shut out, that makes plays. And the San Diego Superchargers have won the AFC West. What a job by them. When we return, Brett Favre In the frozen chunder of Lambeau against Byron Leftwich of Jacksonville, you figured that Favre would have the upper hand, and a game dripping with playoff implications. 5-8 Tampa. Visa Skycam gets you ready for what could be a record-setting night for Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis 500s. The Beasts of the Brickyard. The Colts hosting the very tough defensive-minded Baltimore Ravens, bottom of the hour. And now with Santa getting ready to come down the chimney, a trip to the frozen chunder of Lambeau Field. Brett Favre, 90-19 in Packer home games. And they're playing Jacksonville, so you figure, whoa! And he hurts his left wrist here. Yes, it was...
I'm certainly not laughing at him getting hurt, but Brett's ability to get rid of the football in any situation, that kind of redefined right there.
Bruised left wrist stayed in the game. You know who took a beating but just keeps hanging in there? You gotta love the way Byron Leftwich, because he can't move out of the pocket, but he is tough. Shaken up, and Leftwich stayed in. Hit by KGB Biamila, and then look at this play. The ball is live. Darren Sharper's gonna pick it up and score. Here's why. They ruled it, well, you didn't see it there, but the ball, his arm was not going forward. It was a live ball. The guard picks it up, and Sharper steals it from him. Packer touchdown. And Jack Del Rio, well, that was good motion. And I don't blame him for challenging, but here's a good call. Now you see it. Look, the arm was not going forward yet. It's a fumble, and Sharper puts the Packers ahead 10-7, but not for long. Fred Taylor, 37-yard run in the third. It's 21-17 Jacksonville. This team, I will not they come tough every week. Favre picked off by Rasheed Mathis. Favre discussed what an odd throw.
Inexplicable throw.
And then 4th and goal, Jags going for it. Greg Jones, power football. Another AFC team against an NFC team. 28-17. And now, scary Donovan Darius ejected from the game for the hit and the pulling off the helmet of Robert Ferguson.
Yeah, a scary moment with him down. And you see right here, he kind of clotheslines him right across the head and neck. You can see Ferguson appears to be almost out before he hits the ground. And, you know, when we saw it, we were, certainly all of us, a little bit shaken.
Well, at least that's a good sign. The thumbs up, x-rays on his neck. He's going to the hospital, so the best for him. Meanwhile, back to action. Favre to Antonio Chapman. It's 28-23. They go for 2. 1:08 to go. Driver catches it. 28-25. Ryan Longwell onside kick. Here it comes. And Nick Sorensen. Johnny on the spot for the Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars of Jack Del Rio. You know what? Every game they give you an effort.
Yes.
And that completes 4-0 for the AFC today against the NFC. It's 39-19. And Byron, forget the numbers on this -10 wind chill day. Tough playing Leftwich and the Jags.
Yeah, and I really think that the Jags are the AFC version of what the Carolina Panthers are to the NFC. It doesn't matter who's in, who's out, who's hurt. We are going to come out, as you say, we're going to play tough every time we hit the football field and see where it ends up at the end.
And now the Packers fall back in a first-place tie with Minnesota. Meanwhile, John Gruden's Buccaneers at 5-8 against the Saints, 5-8. They're both alive. And on the opening kickoff, typical Saints. They botched the kickoff. They're going to be in big trouble because, well, wait a minute, maybe I spoke too soon. Aaron Stecker could go all the way. A disaster turns into a 98-yard touchdown right out of the gates. 7-0 Saints. First time they scored in the first quarter since week 2. You got to be kidding me. Meanwhile, Aaron Brooks, Simeon Rice pressuring him. Greg Spires bringing here the Saints. Brooks fumbles, then Simeon Rice. So quick off the ends.
Yeah, again,
7 sacks today, Bucks.
Well, they put a lot of pressure on Aaron Brooks, and usually when you put a lot of pressure on a guy, it's going to force him into some mistakes. The other quarterback, not quite under that kind of pressure, and Joey Galloway, what a day.
Look at this, Joey Galloway, over his own man, makes the cut. Galloway at the 15. He's in. 59-yard punt return. Galloway, he had 2 today. The Bucks lead 14-7. Michael Pittman running hard. Fumble with the Bucks leading 17-14 in the fourth, and the Saints have the ball. Second and goal, Aaron Brooks, Dante Stallworth. Seconds to go. The Saints, the New Orleans Saints, who trailed by 10, 17-7, then missed a field goal in typical Saints fashion. Come back to score 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns and win by the count of 21-17. So the Saints, Tom, the Saints are in the hunt. They're 6-8, and the Bucks at 5-9, probably not. So here you go. Obviously, the Norris division up for grabs. The Seahawks at 7-7, the only team not below 500 in the West. They lead their division. Eagles 1, and Falcons just about 2. Well, no, they are 2. That's done. Vikes, and then Panthers, Saints, Rams. See, despite the loss on Saturday night, the Panthers still have a chance. Now, I got to tell you something. It's been a long time since I've checked Arizona's Week 17 schedule.
They're still in it.
They're in it.
No, they're still in it. Yes.
Tampa, New Orleans, Carolina, Arizona. They all have chances, Tom.
Yeah. All have chances, and yet I think when I look at the character of the ball clubs, when I look at where they've come from, I still keep looking at the 1-7 at one time Carolina Panthers to where they've come now. I know they just lost a game on Saturday night, but when I look at that football team, I think that it's going to be hard to keep that football team out of the playoffs.
Well, Carolina plays Tampa and New Orleans at the
They're
end.
going to kind of control a lot of things that are going to go on.
And meanwhile, the Packers with a numbing, no pun intended, loss, and now Minnesota and them on Christmas Eve. That's a huge game.
A huge game as well.
Huge game. And the NFC, will somebody please stand up and be a contender? Primetime performers as we head to Christmas week. We'll dole out some presents.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a...
Well, when my game ball goes to Larry Johnson of the Kansas City Chiefs, this is a kid who's been just itching to get into the game. He showed what he can do when he gets some playing time. 151 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns scored. He's made the kind of impact now late in the season that I think, the Chiefs will really be looking for next year.
My game ball goes to Marty Schottenheimer and the San Diego Chargers. Playoff, 9 years. Division title's been 10 years. Shutout, it's been 11 years. They've won 8 in a row. They win in the snow. They win in the sun. They win in the rain. And they're going to the playoffs out of nowhere. Out of absolutely nowhere.
Nowhere.
And meanwhile, there could be some really good teams in the AFC that don't make it.
Yeah.
You think it's too late to shift to the NFC?
No, you can't. We can't shift it. But new NFL record for 100-yard rushes this year. With the new bump rule impact, we thought it affected the passers, it affected the rushers. Better rushing games.
Taylor had a huge game, too, 165.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what? From all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas. Hope Santa brings you everything that you want. For Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching NFL Primetime.